The deafening roar of explosions drowns out all other sound as human soldier Adam Dixon dives for cover behind a crumbling wall. On this war-torn alien world, he's the sole Earth Force's operative trapped behind Prylorian lines. Energy weapons light up the night sky, casting eerie shadows across the bombed-out ruins of what was once a thriving alien city. Adam's chest heaves as he catches his breath, his advanced combat armor now caked with dirt and alien blood. He grips his pulse rifle tightly, every muscle tense as he scans for immediate threats. The acrid smell of burning structures and weapons discharge fills his nostrils. A sudden movement catches his eye. Adam whirls, weapon raised, only to find himself face to face with a group of young Prylorian females. Their large, luminous eyes wide with fear, they huddle together in the corner of a destroyed building. One of them, slightly taller than the rest with iridescent scales, takes a cautious step forward. "I'm Gia," she says in halting English, her voice trembling. "Please, help us." Adam's training screams at him to treat all Prylorians as hostiles, but something in Gia's plea reaches past his combat-hardened exterior. In a split-second decision that will alter the course of two species, he lowers his weapon. "I'm Adam," he responds, his voice rough from hours of shouting orders. "Stay low and follow me." Using debris and his own equipment, Adam quickly constructs a makeshift shelter for the Prylorian girls. His hands move with practiced efficiency as he applies Medigel to their wounds, his advanced human medical knowledge surpassing anything available to civilian Prylorians. As night fully descends, Adam's fingers fly over salvaged tech components. Within minutes, he's jury-rigged a perimeter defense system that would make Earth's top engineers proud. He distributes his rations among the group, ignoring his own gnawing hunger. A rustling sound outside sends Adam into action. He moves with fluid grace, neutralizing an approaching Prylorian patrol without a single fatality. The girls watch in awe as this human single-handedly outmaneuvers their own species' elite soldiers. Throughout the long night, Adam remains a vigilant guardian. He fends off native predators drawn by the scent of blood and fear. When a section of ceiling threatens to collapse, he uses his superior strength to hold it up long enough for the Prylorians to scramble to safety. As the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, Adam's mind races. He knows he needs to get these girls to safety, even if it means compromising his mission and facing disciplinary action from his superiors. The seed of trust planted in Gia's eyes tells him it's worth the risk. "We move at first light," Adam announces, his determination evident in every word. "I'm getting you all home." In this moment, on a planet torn apart by conflict, a single human soldier stands ready to challenge the perceptions of an entire alien race. The fate of two species may rest on Adam Dixon's shoulders, and he's prepared to bear that weight, one step at a time. As the first rays of sunlight pierced the hazy sky, Adam Dixon sprang into action. He tapped the side of his helmet, activating an advanced scanning system that Earth's engineers had integrated into his combat gear. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a detailed map of the surrounding area. "All right, we need to move," Adam said, his voice low and steady. "I've found us a route that should keep us out of harm's way." Gia nodded, her iridescent scales shimmering in the early morning light. "What about the others? Some are still injured." Adam's gaze swept over the group of young Prylorian females. Their alien features were etched with fear and exhaustion, but there was also a glimmer of hope in their large, luminous eyes. "We'll manage," he assured them. "Those who can't walk, I'll carry." With practiced efficiency, Adam began fashioning crude camouflage from the debris and vegetation scattered around them. He draped tattered fabric over the Prylorians' shoulders and used mud to dull their naturally bright scales. "This should help us blend in," he explained, demonstrating how to arrange the makeshift disguises. As they prepared to leave their temporary shelter, Adam positioned himself at the front of the group. I'll take point. Gia, I need you to watch our backs. Can you do that? The Prylorian female straightened, a look of purpose crossing her alien features. Yes, I can do that. They set out into the war-torn landscape, Adam's enhanced senses on high alert for any sign of danger. The group moved silently through the ruins of the once thriving alien city, now reduced to rubble and ash. Their progress was slow but steady until they reached the remains of a massive bridge spanning a deep chasm. Adam held up a hand, signaling the group to stop. "The bridge is out," he muttered, scanning the gap. "We'll have to find another way across." Gia's face fell. There is no other way. This was the only crossing for miles. Adam's mind raced, analyzing the problem from every angle. Then, his eyes lit up with an idea. He unslung his pack and pulled out a compact multi-tool. "We're going to build our own bridge," he announced, already moving towards a wreckage strewn about the area. The Prylorians watched in amazement as Adam worked, his hands moving with practiced precision. He salvaged metal beams, cables, and debris, weaving them together into a makeshift structure. Within an hour, a crude but functional bridge spanned the chasm. "That's incredible," Gia breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. Adam allowed himself a small smile. "It's not pretty, but it'll hold. Let's move." They had barely made it across when Adam's sensors began to beep urgently. He raised a hand, stopping the group in their tracks. "Minefield ahead," he warned, his voice tense. The Prylorians huddled together, fear evident in their postures. Adam activated his advanced detection equipment, a thin beam of light, sweeping the ground before them. "Follow my exact steps," he instructed, carefully picking his way through the invisible maze of death. One by one, the Prylorians followed, their trust in the human soldier growing with each safe step. As they reached the other side, a collective sigh of relief rippled through the group. Their moment of respite was short-lived. A distant rumble grew rapidly louder, and Adam's eyes widened in recognition. "Acid storm!" he shouted, already moving into action. "Quick, we need cover." The Prylorians looked around in panic, their scales beginning to sizzle as the first droplets fell. Adam worked frantically, stripping components from his own armor and combining them with local materials to create crude protective gear. "Put these on," he ordered, distributing the makeshift protection. "It won't last long, but it should get us through the storm." Huddled under the improvised shelter, the group waited out the deadly rainfall. The Prylorians watched in awe as Adam's quick thinking and resourcefulness saved them from certain death. As the storm passed, they emerged to find the landscape transformed. Vegetation smoked and hissed, eaten away by the caustic precipitation. Adam knew they needed to find food and water soon. "I'll teach you how to find safe water sources," he said, leading them towards a nearby cluster of alien plants. "And which plants are safe to eat." As he demonstrated survival techniques, Adam noticed the Prylorians watching him with growing respect and curiosity. Their perception of humans was clearly shifting, challenge by challenge. The group's dynamic changed abruptly when they stumbled upon a lone Prylorian male soldier. He lay injured among the wreckage, his alien features contorted in pain. Adam's training screamed at him to treat the soldier as a threat, but he couldn't ignore being in need. "I'm going to help him," Adam announced, already moving towards the injured Prylorian. "But he's one of them," Gia protested, her voice filled with fear and confusion. Adam turned to her, his expression firm but compassionate. "Right now, he's someone who needs our help. That's all that matters." As Adam approached, the Prylorian soldier's eyes widened in fear and anger. He tried to reach for a weapon, but Adam was faster, gently but firmly restraining him. "I'm not here to hurt you," Adam said, his voice calm and steady. "I'm going to treat your wounds. What's your name?" The Prylorian hesitated, confusion evident in his alien features. Finally he spoke. "Kraz. I am called Kraz." Adam nodded, already pulling out his advanced medical kit. "All right, Kraz. Let's get you patched up." As Adam worked, using techniques and treatments far beyond anything available to Prylorian civilians, Kraz watched with a mixture of suspicion and grudging respect. The young females gathered around, their fear slowly giving way to curiosity. "Why?" Kraz asked as Adam finished treating his injuries. "Why would you help me?" Adam met the Prylorian's gaze steadily. "Because it's the right thing to do. Now, can you walk? We need to keep moving." Kraz nodded, slowly getting to his feet. He eyed the group warily, but seemed to understand that his best chance of survival lay with them. As they continued their journey, Adam could feel the dynamic of the group shifting. The Prylorians, both the young females and Kraz, were beginning to see him, and by extension humans, in a new light. Each challenge they overcame together chipped away at their preconceptions. The sun was beginning to set when Adam's enhanced hearing picked up a disturbance ahead. He signaled for the group to take cover, his body tensing for action. "What is it?" Gia whispered, her large eyes scanning the area nervously. Adam's voice was grim as he replied, "Trouble. Stay here and keep quiet. I'll handle this." As he moved forward to confront the new threat, Adam knew that the true test of his skills and the fragile trust he had built with the Prylorians was about to begin. Adam moved silently through the undergrowth, his enhanced senses on high alert. The group followed close behind, their breaths shallow and quick. As they crested a small hill, Adam's eyes widened at the sight before them. A massive energy barrier shimmered in the distance, encircling what appeared to be a sprawling refugee camp. The translucent blue field pulsed with an otherworldly glow, casting eerie shadows across the landscape. "That's the camp," Kraz whispered, his voice a mix of relief and apprehension. Adam nodded, his mind already racing through possible scenarios. He recognized the technology, a primitive version of Earth's force fields. Breaching it undetected would be impossible. "We need a new plan," Adam announced, turning to face the group. "We're going to walk right up to the front gate." Gia's luminous eyes widened in alarm. "But they'll capture you." Adam shook his head, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Not if they can't see me." He tapped a small device on his wrist, and suddenly his form shimmered and vanished from view. Gasps of amazement rippled through the group as Adam's voice continued, now seemingly from thin air. "I'll be right beside you, but you need to act natural. Kraz, you'll take the lead." Over the next few minutes, Adam briefed them on their approach. As they neared the barrier, tension mounted within the group. Kraz straightened his posture, embodying the role of a returning soldier. Two guards stood at attention near a shimmering section of the barrier, their weapons at the ready. Kraz stepped forward, his voice steady as he addressed them in the Prylorian language. The guards' posture stiffened, their large eyes narrowing with suspicion. They fired rapid questions at Kraz, who responded with practiced calm. But Adam could see the strain beginning to show on his face. Suddenly, Gia stepped forward, her iridescent scales catching the light. "Please," she said, her voice cracking with emotion. "We've been through so much. We just want to be safe." The guards exchanged glances, their expressions softening slightly. After a moment of tense silence, one of them nodded and tapped a series of commands into a nearby console. The barrier before them flickered and parted, revealing an entrance to the camp. As they passed through, Adam felt a slight tingle as the energy field washed over him. He held his breath, but his cloaking device held. They were in. The camp was a sea of chaos and desperation. Makeshift shelters stretched as far as the eye could see, housing thousands of Prylorian refugees. The air was thick with the sounds of crying children, worried conversations, and the occasional bark of orders from harried officials. Adam watched as Kraz and the girls were ushered towards a processing center. He took the opportunity to slip away, his cloaking device allowing him to move unseen through the crowded pathways. As he navigated the camp, Adam's trained eye took in every detail. He noted the locations of guard posts, the patterns of patrols, and potential weak points in the camp security. But what struck him most was the suffering he witnessed at every turn. Families huddled together in cramped tents, their possessions reduced to whatever they could carry. Children with hollow eyes and dirty faces lined up for meager rations. In a makeshift medical area, overworked healers struggled to treat a seemingly endless stream of injured and sick refugees. The sight hardened Adam's grit. This war needed to end, and soon. As he rounded a corner, Adam froze. A group of high-ranking Prylorian officers had gathered in a secluded area, their voices low and urgent. Adam activated his advanced listening device, focusing on their conversation. His blood ran cold as he deciphered their words. They were planning a massive counterattack against human forces, one that would result in catastrophic casualties on both sides. Adam's mind raced. He needed to warn Earth's military command, but how? His eyes fell on a communications center across the camp. If he could access their systems. As night fell, Adam made his way back to where Kraz and the girls had been assigned, a crowded tent on the outskirts of the camp. He waited until the area was clear before deactivating his cloaking device. Gia let out a small gasp as Adam materialized before them. "You're back." Adam nodded grimly. "We have a problem. I overheard plans for a major Prylorian attack. If it happens, countless lives will be lost on both sides." Kraz's alien features contorted with concern. "What can we do?" "We need to get into the communications center," Adam replied, his voice low and urgent. "I can send a warning to my superiors, but I'll need your help to pull it off." As Adam outlined his plan, he saw willpower replace fear in the eyes of his unlikely team. Kraz, in particular, seemed to stand taller, his earlier suspicion of the human soldier replaced by a growing respect. "I know the layout of these camps," Kraz offered. "I can guide us to the communications center." Gia nodded eagerly. "And I can create a distraction if needed." Adam felt a surge of pride for his makeshift team. "All right, let's go over the plan one more time. We need to be perfect. We won't get a second chance." As they huddled together, finalizing their roles, a commotion erupted outside their tent. Raised voices and the sound of running feet filled the air. "What's happening?" Gia whispered, her scales shimmering with anxiety. Adam's enhanced hearing picked up snippets of conversation. His face darkened as he translated for the others. "They're saying there's a human infiltrator in the camp. Security's being tightened." The group exchanged worried glances. Their mission, already dangerous, had just become nearly impossible. "We need to move now," Adam said, his voice filled with urgent persistence. "Are you ready?" Kraz and the Prylorian girls nodded, their faces set with perseverance. As one, they stepped out of the tent and into the chaos of the camp, their high-stakes mission now a race against time. Time! Adam's mind raced, calculating their odds and formulating a plan. "Change of plans," he whispered urgently. "We move now. Kraz, I need you to create a distraction near the main gate. Draw as many guards away as possible." Kraz nodded, his alien features set with purpose. "Consider it done." "Gia Lyra Vex," Adam continued, addressing the Prylorian girls. "Blend in with the crowd. Listen, observe. Gather any information you can about guard rotations and access codes. Use the hand signals we practiced to relay it back to me." The girls nodded, their scales shimmering with a mix of excitement and fear. Adam tapped his cloaking device. "I'll make my way to the communications center. Remember, we won't get a second chance at this. Good luck." With that, the group dispersed. Adam activated his cloaking device, vanishing from sight. He moved swiftly through the camp, his enhanced senses on high alert. The chaos of the refugee camp worked to his advantage, masking any small sounds he might make. As he neared the communications center, Adam heard a commotion erupt near the main gate. Kraz had begun his distraction. Guards rushed past Adam's invisible form, drawn by the growing uproar. Gia, Lyra, and Vex played their parts perfectly. They wove through the crowd, their large eyes and twitching antennae taking in every detail. Adam caught glimpses of them exchanging subtle gestures, relaying crucial information. Approaching the communications center, Adam encountered an unexpected obstacle. A shimmering field surrounded the building, pulsing with an eerie blue light. His cloaking device wouldn't be enough to fool the security measure. Adam's mind worked furiously. He noticed a nearby cooling unit, likely used to regulate the temperature of the communication equipment. In a flash of inspiration, he formulated a plan. Working quickly, Adam scavenged parts from the cooling unit and his own gear. Within minutes, he had cobbled together a crude but effective coolant spray. He coated his body with the icy substance, suppressing his heat signature. Heart pounding, Adam approached the security field. He held his breath as he passed through, feeling the energy wash over him. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, he was through. Inside the communications center, Adam faced his next challenge. The Prylorian technology was unlike anything he had encountered before. The interface was alien, the encryption protocols unfamiliar. Drawing on his advanced training and human adaptability, Adam set to work. He observed the system's logic, quickly discerning patterns and protocols. His fingers flew over the strange controls, reverse engineering the system on the fly. As Adam worked, he became aware of the growing chaos outside. Kraz's distraction had evolved into a full-scale riot. The sounds of angry shouts and breaking equipment filtered through the walls. Finally, Adam gained access to the system. He swiftly composed an encrypted message, warning Earth's military command about the impending Prylorian attack. As he prepared to send it, something caught his eye. Buried in the Prylorian database was evidence of a peace-seeking faction within their high command. This group was being systematically silenced by warmongering leaders. Adam's pulse quickened as he realized the implications. He quickly added this intelligence to his transmission. Just as Adam hit send, the building shook. The backup generators failed, plunging the communications center into darkness. Alarms blared, piercing the sudden silence. Adam's cloaking device sparked and fizzled out, damaged by the power surge. He was exposed in hostile territory, with security forces undoubtedly converging on his position. Relying on his combat training and enhanced senses, Adam navigated through the darkened facility. He ducked into shadows, narrowly avoiding panicked Prylorian technicians and incoming security teams. As he made his way out of the communications center, Adam witnessed scenes that made his blood boil. Prylorian soldiers roughly manhandled refugees, shoving them aside in their search for the intruder. The harsh treatment of civilians by their own military only strengthened Adam's dedication to find a peaceful resolution to this conflict. Adam slipped through the chaos of the camp, making his way to the predetermined meeting point. His heart raced as he saw Kraz and the Prylorian girls already waiting, their alien features taut with tension. "Did you succeed?" Gia asked, her large eyes scanning Adam for signs of injury. Adam nodded. "Message sent. But our actions have set something big in motion. We need to get out of here. Fast." Kraz gestured towards the perimeter. "The riot has drawn most of the guards away from the eastern fence. If we move now, we might have a chance." Adam surveyed his unlikely team. Human and Prylorian, soldier and civilian, united by a common goal. They had come this far together. Now, they faced their greatest challenge yet. "Let's move," Adam said, leading the way towards the eastern fence. As they navigated through the war-torn landscape beyond the camp, Adam knew their journey was a long way to go. The success of their mission and the potential for peace between humans and Prilorians hung in the balance. But for now, their focus was singular: survive, evade capture, and find a way to contact human forces. The group disappeared into the alien night, leaving behind a camp in turmoil and a conflict on the brink of transformation. Transformation, the riot they'd incited, had spiraled beyond their control, plunging the camp into utter chaos. Sirens blared, drowning out the panicked shouts of refugees and the barked orders of Prilorian guards. The acrid smell of smoke filled the air as fires broke out across the compound. Adam surveyed the scene, his enhanced senses processing the mayhem. "Our window of opportunity is closing fast," he said, voice low and urgent. "We need to move now." Kraz nodded, his alien features set with drive. "The main exits will be sealed. How do you propose we escape?" Adam's eyes darted around, analyzing their surroundings. His gaze settled on a nondescript grate near the base of a nearby structure. "The sewage system," he said. "It's our best shot." Gia's scales rippled with disgust. "You can't be serious." "I am," Adam replied, already moving towards a grate. "It's the last place they'll look for us." Using his enhanced strength, Adam wrenched the grate free. The stench that wafted up nearly overwhelmed even his trained senses. He gestured for the others to enter. Kraz hesitated. "Are you certain about this, human?" "Trust me," Adam said, locking eyes with the Prilorian. After a moment, Kraz nodded and lowered himself into the opening. The girls followed, with Gia bringing up the rear. Adam slipped in last, pulling the grate back into place above him. The darkness was near total, broken only by the bioluminescent glow of the Prilorian scales. "Stay close and follow my lead," Adam whispered, activating his night vision implants. They sloshed through the foul liquid, Adam's advanced senses guiding them through the labyrinthine tunnels. The sounds of the riot above grew distant, replaced by the echoing drip of water and the occasional skittering of unseen creatures. Their progress was slow and treacherous. Twice they encountered collapsed sections of piping, forcing Adam to improvise alternate routes. At one junction, he detected a pocket of toxic gas, steering the group clear just in time. As they navigated a particularly narrow passage, Kraz spoke up. "I must admit, human, your resourcefulness is impressive." Adam allowed himself a small smile. Adaptability is a human specialty. Suddenly, Adam froze, holding up a hand to halt the others. His enhanced hearing had picked up something above them. "Security teams," he whispered. "They're searching the area directly overhead." Gia's eyes widened with fear. "They'll find us." Adam's mind raced, formulating a plan. Not if we give them something else to worry about. He began rummaging through his gear and scanning the tunnel walls. "What are you doing?" Kraz asked. "Improvising," Adam replied, pulling components from his equipment and scavenging materials from their surroundings. Within minutes, he had cobbled together a crude explosive device. "Everyone back," he ordered, placing the device against a weak point in the tunnel ceiling. He activated the timer and hurried the group down an adjacent passage. The explosion rocked the tunnel, sending tremors through the ground. Water and debris rained down as a sinkhole formed above them. "Move!" Adam shouted, leading the group through the chaos. They emerged from a ruptured pipe, coughing and sputtering, into the open air beyond the camp's perimeter. Adam quickly assessed their surroundings. They had escaped the camp, but the danger was a long way to go. The landscape before them was a war-torn wasteland, pockmarked with craters and littered with the remnants of battle. "We need to put some distance between us and the camp," Adam said, scanning the horizon. "There's cover in that direction. Let's move." As they picked their way across the treacherous terrain, Adam's training kicked into overdrive. He guided the group around minefields, using subtle signs invisible to untrained eyes. When patrols of both human and Prylorian forces passed nearby, he led the others into concealment, their breath held until the danger passed. After hours of tense travel, they crested a ridge and came upon an unexpected sight. Nestled in a shallow valley was an abandoned Prylorian military outpost. "We should rest there," Cross suggested, fatigue evident in his voice. Adam shook his head. "Too risky. It could be booby-trapped or under surveillance." "Or," Gia interjected, "it could have supplies we desperately need." Adam weighed the options, then nodded. "All right, but we approach with extreme caution. Follow my lead. Step exactly where I step." They descended into the valley, Adam's eyes constantly scanning for threats. As they neared the outpost, he held up a hand, halting the group. Kneeling, he examined a barely visible tripwire. "Observe," he said, carefully disarming the trap. "This is what we're dealing with." Inside the outpost, they discovered a cache of Prylorian weapons and communication devices. Adam's curiosity piqued. He began examining the alien technology. "Remarkable," Cross said, watching as Adam quickly deciphered the workings of a Prylorian energy rifle. "You humans truly are adaptable." Adam nodded absently, his attention focused on a communications console. With some trial and error, he managed to access the Prylorian military network. His blood ran cold as he decrypted the intercepted messages. "There's a major battle about to erupt nearby," he reported. "And that's not all. There's a secret Prylorian command center controlling the planetary defense grid. If we could disable it, we could end the war," Gia finished, her scales shimmering with excitement. Kraz shook his head vehemently. "It's too dangerous. We should focus on finding safety." A heated debate erupted among the group. Adam listened to both sides, weighing the enormous risk against the potential to save countless lives. Finally, he spoke. "We're going for the command center," he declared. "I have a plan, but I'll need each of you to play a crucial role." As Adam outlined his strategy, a massive explosion lit up the sky. The battle had begun, energy weapons and advanced war machines clashing in the distance. "That's our cue," Adam said, grabbing a Prylorian weapon. "Let's move out. Stay low, stay quiet, and stick to the plan." They set out towards the command center, using the chaos of the battle as cover. Adam led the way, his every sense on high alert as they navigated the war-torn landscape. Kraz's knowledge of Prylorian protocols proved invaluable, allowing them to anticipate enemy movements and avoid detection. As they neared the heavily fortified facility, Adam spotted their opportunity. A blind spot in the defensive perimeter, likely caused by battle damage to the sensor grid. "There's our way in," he whispered, gathering the team close. "But exploiting it will require perfect timing and coordination from all of us." Adam began outlining his daring infiltration plan, knowing that success could change the course of the war. As the sounds of battle intensified around them, he locked eyes with each member of his unlikely team. "Are you ready?" he asked, his voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Kraz, Gia, and the others nodded, their faces a mix of fear and dedication. "Then let's end this war," Adam said, raising his weapon. With a gesture, he signaled the start of their most perilous mission yet. Adam's heart pounded as he led his team towards the Prylorian command center. The first rays of dawn painted the sky in hues of purple and orange, casting long shadows across the war-torn landscape. The facility loomed before them, a behemoth of metal and shimmering energy fields. As they approached, Adam's enhanced vision scanned the perimeter. His eyes locked onto a maintenance hatch near the base of the structure, partially obscured by debris from recent battles. "There," he whispered, pointing out the vulnerability to his companions. "That's our way in." Kraz frowned, his scales rippling with concern. "The defenses are formidable. How do you propose we breach them? Adam outlined his plan swiftly, his voice low and urgent. Cross, I need you to create a distraction at the main gate. Use your knowledge of Prilorian protocols to draw their attention. Gia, you and the others will disable the perimeter sensors. I've shown you the techniques. You can do this. Gia nodded, her large eyes reflecting a mix of fear and drive. What about you? I'm going in, Adam replied, checking his equipment one last time. Once you've done your part, get to safety. I'll handle the rest. As his team moved into position, Adam took a deep breath, centering himself. He watched as Kraz approached the main gate, his posture and movements a perfect imitation of a high-ranking Prilorian officer. The distraction worked. Guards swarmed towards Kraz, leaving other areas of the perimeter vulnerable. Seizing the moment, Adam sprinted towards the outer wall. His enhanced muscles propelled him upward with inhuman speed and agility. He scaled the smooth surface, finding minute imperfections to use as handholds. Reaching the maintenance hatch, Adam pulled out a multi-tool. The lock was complex, but his trained fingers worked quickly, bypassing the security measures. With a soft click, the hatch swung open. Adam slipped inside, finding himself in a cramped network of maintenance tunnels. The air was thick with the smell of ozone and machinery. He moved silently, his enhanced senses alert for any sign of guards. Navigating the maze-like passages, Adam relied on his perfect recall of Prilorian facility layouts. He froze as footsteps approached, pressing himself against a wall. 2 Prilorian technicians passed by, oblivious to his presence. After several tense minutes of careful maneuvering, Adam reached the central control room. He paused outside the door, listening intently. The sound of raised voices caught his attention. We cannot continue this senseless conflict. A Prilorian voice insisted. The humans have shown themselves to be more than simple savages. We must pursue peace. Peace? Another voice scoffed. They invaded our territory. The only language they understand is force. Adam's mind raced. This was an unexpected development, a divide within the Prilorian command structure. He weighed his options quickly, then made a decision. With a swift motion, Adam burst into the room. The Prilorian officers froze, their argument forgotten in the shock of his sudden appearance. Who are you? How did you get in here? Demanded a tall Prilorian with ornate markings, clearly a high-ranking officer. Adam raised his hand slowly, showing he was unarmed. I'm Adam, a human soldier. I come with vital intelligence and a proposal for peace. The room erupted into chaos. Some officers reached for weapons, while others shouted for guards. One Prilorian, however, raised a hand for silence. I am Commander ZYX, he said, his gaze locked on Adam. Speak quickly, human. What is this intelligence you claim to have? Adam spoke rapidly, outlining the information he had gathered about the peace-seeking faction within the Prilorian High Command. He explained his mission, the riot at the refugee camp, and the data he had transmitted to Earth's military. As he spoke, the atmosphere in the room shifted. Commander ZYX's expression changed from suspicion to interest. This aligns with my own efforts, ZYX said. I've been advocating for peace talks, but General Vrock and his Warhawks have blocked every attempt. A furious roar interrupted them. General Vrock, a massive Prilorian with battle scars crisscrossing his scales, lunged towards a control panel. Enough of this treason, Vrock bellowed. I'm activating the planetary defense grid. We'll obliterate the humans once and for all. Adam's combat training kicked in. He leapt towards Vrock, his enhanced speed carrying him across the room in a blur. Vrock's fist swung out, a blow that could shatter human bones. But Adam was no ordinary human. He ducked under the punch, using Vrock's momentum against him. The two grappled, a David and Goliath struggle that left the other Prilorians watching in stunned silence. Vrock's superior size and strength were formidable, but Adam's speed and adaptability kept him in the fight. He dodged and weaved, landing precise strikes on vulnerable points of Prilorian anatomy. The battle raged across the control room, consoles sparking as they were smashed in the melee. Adam found himself pinned against a wall, Vrock's massive hands closing around his throat. Spots danced in his vision as he struggled for air. With a surge of desperate strength, Adam brought his knee up sharply. It connected with a sensitive cluster of nerves in Vrock's abdomen, a weak point Adam had learned during his time with Kraz and the others. Vrock's grip loosened. Adam twisted free, using a complex grappling technique to flip the much larger Prilorian onto his back. In seconds, he had Vrock pinned and subdued. The room fell silent, save for the heavy breathing of the combatants. Commander ZYX stepped forward, his expression a mix of awe and respect. "Stand down, all of you," ZYX ordered. "This human has shown us the truth of our situation. The war ends now." ZYX moved to a communications console, inputting a series of commands. "I'm ordering an immediate ceasefire and opening a channel to the human forces." Adam, still catching his breath, straightened up. "I can help facilitate the dialogue. I've worked closely with both sides. I can bridge the gap." As ZYX began the historic transmission, Adam's thoughts turned to his team. He hoped Kraz, Gia, and the others had made it to safety. There was still much work to be done, but for the first time since the war began, there was hope for a lasting peace between humans and Prilorians. The next few hours passed in a blur of negotiations and tense exchanges. Adam found himself acting as a mediator, his unique perspective proving invaluable in smoothing over misunderstandings between the two species. As news of the ceasefire spread, Adam made his way outside the command center. His heart leapt as he saw familiar figures approaching. Kraz, Gia, and the other Prilorian girls had survived. Their reunion was joyous but brief. Already, Adam could see the challenges that lay ahead. Not all Prilorians would accept the ceasefire easily, and he knew there were hawkish elements within the human military who would resist peace efforts. As the group looked out over the battle-scarred landscape, Adam realized their journey was not nearly finished. The war might be ending, but the real work of building lasting peace was just beginning. As the sun rose higher in the sky, casting long shadows across the war-torn landscape, Adam and his companions watched as human and Prilorian forces began to lay down their weapons. The ceasefire was taking hold, but the atmosphere remained tense, filled with uncertainty and lingering mistrust. Adam's comm unit crackled to life, interrupting the moment of reflection. "Lieutenant Harrison, report to the command center immediately," came the gruff voice of a human officer. With a nod to his companions, Adam made his way back to the imposing structure. Inside, he found a flurry of activity, as both human and Prilorian personnel worked to establish communication channels and coordinate the ceasefire. Commander ZYX approached Adam, his scales shimmering with a mix of exhaustion and hope. "The human military has sent a delegation to discuss the terms of our ceasefire. They requested your presence as a liaison." Adam's pulse quickened. This was a crucial moment, one that could shape the future of human-Prilorian relations. "I understand, Commander. I'll do my best to facilitate productive discussions." As they entered the main conference room, Adam's eyes fell upon a familiar face, General Marcus Steele, a man known for his unyielding stance against alien threats. The general's piercing stare swept over the assembled Prilorians before landing on Adam. "Lieutenant Harrison," Steele said, his voice cold and measured, "I understand you've been fraternizing with the enemy. I hope your judgment hasn't been compromised." Adam stood tall, meeting the general's gaze. "Sir, my experiences have given me unique insights into Prilorian culture and motivations. I believe I can help bridge the gap between our species and work towards a lasting peace." Steele's eyes narrowed, but he nodded curtly. We'll see. Let's get down to business. The negotiations proved to be a minefield of cultural misunderstandings and deep-seated animosities. Adam found himself constantly intervening, explaining human idioms to the Prilorians and clarifying Prilorian customs to the human delegates. During a particularly tense moment, when discussion of territorial concessions threatened to derail the talks, Adam made a bold move. General Steele, Commander ZYX, if I may. I'd like to introduce you to some individuals who can provide valuable perspective on the potential for human-Prilorian cooperation. With a nod from both leaders, Adam brought Kraz and Gia into the room. The sight of the Prilorian girls caused a stir among the human delegates, while the Prilorians seemed equally fascinated by Kraz's comfort around humans. Kraz stepped forward, his voice steady despite the high-ranking officials before him. Honored leaders, I am Kraz, former combat analyst for the Prilorian military. I have witnessed firsthand the bravery and compassion of humans, particularly Lieutenant Harrison. He risked his life to save me and my companions, showing that cooperation between our species is not only possible, but potentially transformative. Gia spoke next, her large eyes blinking nervously. The humans we encountered treated us with kindness and respect, even in the midst of war. They showed us that our two species have more in common than we realized. We can learn from each other, grow together. Their testimonies seemed to soften the hardened expressions of both human and Prilorian negotiators. General Steele leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful look crossing his face. As the talks progressed, Adam began to sense a shift in the room's atmosphere. The sharp edges of hostility began to dull, replaced by cautious curiosity and even tentative hope. However, just as progress seemed within reach, Adam's comm unit buzzed with an urgent message. He excused himself from the room, stepping into the hallway to read the report. His blood ran cold as he scanned the contents. A group of Prilorian hardliners, loyal to the imprisoned General Vrock, had begun organizing resistance against the peace process. They were sabotaging relief efforts and spreading anti-human propaganda among refugee populations. Simultaneously, reports were coming in of a human supremacist group gaining traction, calling for the complete subjugation of Prilorians rather than peaceful coexistence. Adam's mind raced. The fragile peace they had worked so hard to achieve was already under threat from both sides. He knew he had to act quickly to prevent the situation from spiraling out of control. Returning to the conference room, Adam cleared his throat, drawing the attention of both General Steele and Commander ZYX. Sir, Commander, I have a proposal that I believe could help stabilize the situation and demonstrate our commitment to cooperation. All eyes turned to Adam as he outlined his plan for a joint human-Prilorian peacekeeping force. The room fell silent as he finished speaking, the weight of his suggestion hanging in the air. General Steele was the first to respond, his brow furrowed in thought. A bold proposition, Lieutenant. But how do you propose to overcome the significant challenges of integrating two species with a history of conflict? Before Adam could respond, Commander ZYX interjected. If I may, General, Lieutenant Harrison has already demonstrated a remarkable ability to bridge our cultural divide. If anyone could make such a force work, it would be him. As the two leaders debated the merits of the proposal, a series of explosions rocked the building. Alarms blared as security personnel rushed to respond. Report. General Steele barked into his comm unit. The response came back, filled with static. Sir, we're under attack. Prilorian insurgents loyal to General Vrock have launched coordinated strikes against key facilities. The room erupted into chaos. Accusations flew as both sides initially suspected betrayal. Adam's voice cut through the din. This is exactly why we need a joint peacekeeping force. We must show a united front against those who would derail our progress. General Steele and Commander ZYX exchanged glances, a moment of unspoken understanding passing between them. Finally, Steele nodded. Very well, Lieutenant Harrison, you have our support. Assemble your team and neutralize this threat. The fate of our ceasefire may well rest in your hands." As Adam rushed out of the room to gather his unlikely crew, he knew the real challenges were just beginning. The joint peacekeeping force represented the best hope for lasting peace between humans and Prilorians. But first, they had to survive their trial by fire. Fire! Adam's heart raced as he led his hastily assembled team through the chaos erupting around them. The acrid smell of smoke filled the air, punctuated by the sharp crackle of energy weapons and the distant rumble of explosions. "Kraz, what's our status?" Adam called out, ducking behind a partially collapsed wall for cover. The Prilorian combat analyst's scales shimmered with tension as he consulted a holographic display projected from his wrist device. Multiple hostiles detected along the main access routes to the refugee camp. They're using advanced energy weapons and force field technology. Adam's mind raced, piecing together a strategy. He turned to face his diverse team of humans and Prilorians. Their faces a mix of persistence and uncertainty. "All right, listen up. We're splitting into 3 groups." He quickly outlined his plan, assigning roles based on each species' unique strengths. Kraz would lead a group of Prilorians, utilizing their advanced stealth technology to flank the enemy. The human soldiers, armed with Earth's most advanced weaponry, would launch a frontal assault as a distraction. "Gia," Adam said, turning to the Prilorian female, "you mentioned an underground maintenance tunnel from your time in the camp. Can you guide us through it?" Gia nodded, her large eyes reflecting the flickering fires around them. "Yes, I remember it clearly. It should bypass most of the fighting." "Good. You're with me. We'll lead a mixed team to infiltrate the camp and secure the hostages." As the teams moved out, Adam led his group to a concealed entrance hidden beneath rubble. Gia's knowledge proved invaluable as they navigated the dark, winding tunnels. The air grew thick and oppressive, filled with the scent of damp earth and corroded metal. Suddenly, Gia held up a hand, signaling the group to stop. "Listen," she whispered. Through the walls, they could hear muffled voices, Prilorian, but with an accent Adam didn't recognize. He motioned for silence as they crept closer to an access hatch above them. "Cannot allow the humans to gain a foothold here," a voice was saying. "The Arbiter's orders are clear. We must hold this position at all costs." Adam's brow furrowed. The Arbiter? He filed away the information for later as he signaled his team to prepare for action. With a swift, coordinated movement, they burst through the hatch. Adam's enhanced reflexes allowed him to take in the scene in a split second. A group of Prilorian loyalists caught off guard, reaching for their weapons. The next moments were a blur of action. Energy bolts sizzled through the air as Adam's team engaged the enemy. Their surprise attack gave them the advantage, and soon the room was secured. As the dust settled, a new voice called out from the shadows. "Hold your fire. We're on your side." A group of civilians emerged, led by a striking Prilorian female. Her scales shimmered with an iridescent pattern Adam had never seen before. "I am Zara," she said, her voice carrying an air of authority. "We've been resisting the loyalists from within the camp. Your arrival is most welcome." Adam quickly introduced himself and explained their mission. Zara's eyes widened with recognition. "You're the human who saved Kraz and the others. Your actions inspired us to fight back." With Zara's help, Adam's team gained crucial intelligence about the camp's layout and the locations of hostages. They moved swiftly, coordinating with Kraz's flanking maneuvers and the human soldiers' frontal assault. The operation unfolded with precision. Adam's quick thinking and adaptive leadership saved numerous lives as they navigated the complex web of loyalist defenses. Humans and Prilorians worked in seamless concert, their complementary abilities proving far more effective than either species could have managed alone. As the last pockets of resistance fell, Adam found himself in the Loyalist Command Center. He quickly accessed their communication devices, hoping to gain insight into their plans. What he found made his blood run cold. Encrypted messages hinted at a far-reaching conspiracy involving high-ranking officials from both human and Prylorian governments. These shadowy figures seemed intent on sabotaging the peace process, using the Vrock loyalists as pawns in a larger game. Adam's mind raced with the implications. If this information got out, it could shatter the fragile alliance between humans and Prylorians. He made a split-second decision to keep the discovery confidential until he could gather more evidence and determine the best course of action. As he emerged from the command center, Adam was met with a scene of cautious celebration. Humans and Prylorians alike were tending to the wounded and securing the area. The success of their joint operation was undeniable. Kraz approached, his scales still shimmering with residual adrenaline. "We did it, Adam. The camp is secure." Adam nodded, forcing a smile despite the weight of his recent discovery. "Good work, everyone. But this is just the beginning. We've proven what we can accomplish together, but there will be more challenges ahead." As if to underscore his words, Adam's comm unit crackled to life. General Steele's voice came through, terse and urgent. "Lieutenant Harrison, report. We're receiving conflicting information about the situation at the refugee camp." Adam took a deep breath, knowing that his next words would shape the course of human-Prylorian relations. He looked around at his team, human and Prylorian, soldier and civilian, united in their goal of peace. "Sir," he began, choosing his words carefully, "I'm pleased to report that the Joint Peacekeeping Force has successfully secured the refugee camp. We've neutralized the Vrock loyalist threat with minimal casualties on both sides." There was a pause on the other end of the line. When Steele spoke again, there was a note of grudging respect in his voice. "Well done, Lieutenant. Your unorthodox methods appear to be yielding results. Stand by for further orders." As Adam signed off, he caught sight of Zara organizing medical care for the wounded. Their eyes met, and he saw in her gaze a reflection of his own willpower and his own doubts. The immediate threat had been neutralized, but Adam knew that the real challenges lay ahead. The conspiracy he had uncovered loomed like a shadow over their hard-won victory. As the sun began to set over the scarred landscape of the refugee camp, Adam steeled himself for the battles to come. Battles that would be fought not just with weapons, but with words, trust, and the power of cooperation between two species that had only just begun to understand each other. The immediate crisis had been averted, but Adam knew that the path to lasting peace would be fraught with challenges. In the days that followed, news of the Joint Peacekeeping Force's success at the refugee camp spread rapidly. Adam found himself thrust into the spotlight, his name and face splashed across human and Prylorian media alike. Interviews and accolades poured in, hailing him as a symbol of interspecies cooperation. As Adam sat in his temporary office, reviewing reports on a holographic display, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had settled over him since discovering the encrypted messages. The weight of the conspiracy he had uncovered pressed on his mind, even as he smiled for the cameras and gave carefully worded statements about the future of human-Prylorian relations. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. Kraz entered, his scales shifting in a pattern that Adam had come to recognize as concern. "You've seen the latest reports?" Kraz asked, his multifaceted eyes scanning Adam's face. Adam nodded, gesturing to the holographic display. "The attacks on our supply convoys are becoming more frequent and precise. Someone has inside information on our operations." Kraz's scales rippled in agreement. "Our fame has made us a target. We need a more secure base of operations, Adam." The idea had been forming in Adam's mind for days. Now, he gave it voice. Not just a base, Kraz. A symbol. Something that represents what we're fighting for. Over the next week, Adam worked tirelessly to bring his vision to life. He selected a site on the border between human and Prylorian territories, a former battleground that would now serve as a beacon of unity. Plans were drawn up, combining the best of human engineering and Prilorian architecture. As construction began on what would come to be known as Unity Base, Adam found himself facing a new set of challenges. The mysterious attacks on supply convoys intensified, targeting shipments of crucial materials for the base. Each strike was executed with precision, suggesting an intimate knowledge of their operations. Suspicion gnawed at Adam. The possibility of a mole within their ranks could not be ignored. He called Kraz and Gia to a secure meeting room, away from prying eyes and ears. "I need your help," Adam said, his voice low. "Kraz, I want you to discreetly monitor our Prilorian personnel. Gia, you'll do the same for the humans. We need to find out if someone's feeding information to our enemies." As his closest allies set about their covert tasks, Adam turned his attention to the growing opposition. A human supremacist group had begun a vicious propaganda campaign, releasing doctored footage that appeared to show Adam collaborating with Prilorians during the war. The accusations hit hard. Adam watched as public opinion among humans began to fracture, with some calling for his arrest and trial. The carefully cultivated image of unity began to crack under the weight of old hatreds and fresh suspicions. But it wasn't just the human side causing problems. Reports started filtering in about a charismatic Prilorian leader emerging from the shadows. Known as the Arbiter, he revealed himself to be Vexthor, a war hero long thought dead. His fiery speeches promised Prilorian supremacy through the use of ancient technologies, swaying many who had previously supported peace. As Unity Base took shape, rising from the scarred earth like a gleaming promise of cooperation, Adam felt the noose of opposition tightening. He was working late one night, poring over security reports, when an urgent message from Zara flashed across his screen. The Prilorian resistance leader's face appeared, her scales pulsing with agitation. "Adam, I've uncovered plans for an attack on Unity Base. It's to happen during the opening ceremony. Both human supremacists and Vexthor's followers are involved." Adam's mind raced, calculating risks and formulating plans. He thanked Zara for the information and immediately set things in motion. Kraz was dispatched to infiltrate Vexthor's inner circle, while Gia was sent to warn General Steele about the human supremacist threat. For himself, Adam chose the most dangerous mission. Using advanced stealth technology, he prepared to infiltrate the human supremacist group's main compound. As he donned the sleek, light-bending suit, he knew the risks. If caught, he would be labeled a traitor, confirming the very propaganda they had spread about him. Under the cover of darkness, Adam approached the heavily fortified compound. His heart pounded as he slipped past the first layer of security, the stealth suit rendering him nearly invisible. Inside, he navigated a maze of corridors, his enhanced senses on high alert for any sign of detection. In a secured data center, Adam found what he was looking for. He quickly began downloading files, his eyes widening at the extent of the conspiracy revealed. High-ranking officials, both human and Prilorian, were implicated in the plot to sabotage the peace process. Just as the data transfer completed, alarms blared throughout the facility. Adam's presence had been detected. He scrambled to exit, but found his path blocked by armed guards. Trapped deep within enemy territory, Adam realized that the fate of Unity Base and the fragile peace between humans and Prilorians now hung in the balance. As he pressed himself against the wall, hearing the approaching footsteps of his pursuers, Adam's mind raced through possible escape routes. The incriminating data he carried could expose the entire conspiracy, but first, he had to find a way out of this deadly situation. Time was running out, and the footsteps were getting closer. Adam's military training kicked in, his mind racing through possible escape routes. He noticed a nearby control panel, and an idea formed. Quickly, he accessed the facility's power grid through his wrist computer, exploiting a vulnerability he had discovered earlier. With a few deft keystrokes, Adam overloaded the power circuits, plunging the entire section into darkness. Alarms blared even louder as emergency systems failed to engage. Confused shouts echoed through the corridors as his pursuers stumbled in the sudden blackout. Using the chaos to his advantage, Adam slipped past the disoriented guards, his stealth suit blending seamlessly with the shadows. He moved swiftly through the darkened hallways, relying on his enhanced senses and memorized layout of the facility. As he rounded a corner, Adam heard hushed voices coming from a nearby room. Curiosity piqued. He pressed himself against the wall and listened intently. "The Xenocide device is nearly complete," a voice said with unmistakable pride. "Once deployed, it will target Prilorian biology on a planetary scale. No more negotiations, no more compromises. We'll finally be rid of those alien scum." Adam's blood ran cold. The implications of such a weapon were catastrophic. It would not only destroy any hope for peace, but potentially lead to the extinction of an entire species. He knew he couldn't leave without stopping this threat. Silently, Adam made his way to the facility's central database. Using his advanced hacking skills, he bypassed multiple layers of security and initiated a complete system wipe. As the deletion process began, he heard shouts and the pounding of boots approaching his position. "Over here! The intruder's in the server room." Adam's muscles tensed as he prepared for the fight of his life. The first wave of security forces burst through the door, weapons raised. In a blur of motion, Adam disarmed the lead guard and used him as a human shield against the incoming fire. Using a combination of hand-to-hand combat and improvised weapons, Adam fought off wave after wave of attackers. He moved with fluid grace, each strike precise and devastating. Guards fell unconscious or writhed in pain as Adam systematically dismantled their defenses. As the last guard crumpled to the floor, Adam checked the progress of the data purge. Complete. He allowed himself a moment of satisfaction before moving on to his next objective, destroying the Xenocide device prototypes. Following the facility schematics he had memorized, Adam made his way to the prototype storage area. He quickly located the devices and began rigging them with explosive scavenge from the armory. Just as he was about to set the final charge, a deep voice rang out behind him. "I must admit, I'm impressed. You've caused quite a bit of trouble for us today, Lieutenant Harrison." Adam turned to face Colonel Harkov, the leader of the human supremacist group. The man's cybernetic enhancements gleamed in the low light, promising enhanced strength and speed. "It's over, Harkov," Adam said, his voice steady. "Your plans for the Xenocide device end here." Harkov's laugh was cold and mirthless. "You think you can stop the inevitable? Humanity must prevail at any cost." Without warning, Harkov lunged forward with inhuman speed. Adam barely managed to dodge the first punch, feeling the wind from the cybernetic fist as it passed inches from his face. The two men engaged in a brutal dance of violence. Harkov's enhancements gave him a significant advantage in strength and speed, but Adam's superior training and adaptability kept him in the fight. As they grappled, Adam's mind raced for a solution. His eyes darted around the room, searching for anything he could use to his advantage. Then he saw it, exposed electrical wiring near a damaged control panel. With a burst of strength, Adam broke free from Harkov's grip and feinted to the left. As the colonel moved to intercept, Adam changed direction at the last second, luring his opponent towards the exposed wiring. Harkov realized the trap too late. His cybernetic arm made contact with the live wires, sending a massive electrical surge through his body. The colonel convulsed violently before collapsing to the ground, his enhancements sputtering and sparking. Wasting no time, Adam secured Harkov and quickly extracted vital intelligence about the group's future plans. With the immediate threat neutralized, he turned his attention to escape. Adam accessed the facility's security systems once more, this time releasing all the locks and containment units. Alarms blared as experimental subjects and captured creatures ran free, creating the perfect distraction for his final push to freedom. Fighting his way through the chaos, Adam reached the facility's hangar. He commandeered an advanced stealth aircraft, powering up its systems as guards poured into the hangar bay. As the aircraft lifted off, Adam triggered the explosives he had planted. The storage area erupted in a massive fireball, destroying the Xenocide device prototypes and crippling the supremacist base. But the blast had consequences for Adam as well. His stolen aircraft shuddered as shrapnel tore through one of its engines. Warning lights flashed across the control panel as the craft began to lose altitude. Adam struggled with the controls, trying to maintain a steady course as he crossed into Prilorian-controlled territory. The damage was too severe. He would have to attempt an emergency landing. The aircraft skimmed treetops as Adam searched for a suitable landing site. He spotted a small clearing and aimed for it, bracing for impact. The craft hit the ground hard, skidding across the alien terrain before coming to a violent stop. Dazed but alive, Adam extracted himself from the wreckage. He assessed his injuries. Nothing life-threatening, but he was far from peak condition. As the adrenaline faded, the reality of his situation set in. He was stranded in hostile Prilorian territory, injured, with no immediate means of communication or extraction. The vital intelligence he carried about both human and Prilorian conspirators needed to reach Unity Base as soon as possible. Drawing upon his survival training and the knowledge he had gained from Kraz and Gia, Adam began to gather what supplies he could from the crashed aircraft. He oriented himself using the alien constellations above, setting a course that he hoped would lead him back to friendly territory. As dawn broke over the alien landscape, Adam set out on his perilous journey. The fate of human-Prilorian relations, and perhaps the future of both species, rested on his ability to navigate through this hostile environment and deliver his crucial intelligence to Unity Base. Base with the vital intelligence he now carried. As dawn broke over the alien landscape, Adam set out on his journey, pushing through the pain of his injuries. The Prilorian terrain was unlike anything he had encountered before. Towering crystalline formations jutted from the ground, casting prismatic reflections across the purple-hued soil. Hours into his trek, Adam heard the distant sound of voices. Cautiously approaching, he discovered a group of Prilorian civilians huddled together, fear evident in their pulsating scales. Among them stood a familiar face, Lyra, the young Prilorian empath he had met during diplomatic negotiations. "Yutnari-son." Lyra's voice was a mix of surprise and relief. "What are you doing here?" Adam quickly assessed the situation. These were refugees fleeing from the growing conflict. He realized that his journey back to Unity Base had just become more complicated. "I'm trying to get back to Unity Base," Adam explained, his voice low. "There's vital information I need to deliver." "What's your situation?" Lyra's scales dimmed. "We're fleeing from Vexthor's forces. They've been rounding up anyone who doesn't support their cause." Adam's mind raced, weighing his options. He couldn't abandon these civilians, but every moment he delayed increased the risk of the attack on Unity Base. Making a quick decision, he addressed the group. "I can help guide you to safety, but we need to move quickly and quietly. Can everyone keep up?" The Prilorians nodded, their eyes fixed on Adam with a mix of hope and uncertainty. With Lyra's help translating, Adam began to lead the group through the alien wilderness. The journey was grueling. Adam's military training had prepared him for harsh conditions, but the Prilorian environment presented unique challenges. Poisonous spores drifted through the air, requiring careful navigation. Carnivorous plants lay in wait, their tendrils disguised as harmless vegetation. Adam drew upon the knowledge he had gained from Kraz and Gia, identifying safe paths and edible flora. He taught the refugees basic survival techniques, showing them how to purify water, using Prilorian mineral deposits, and create shelter from the bioluminescent flora. As they traversed a particularly treacherous ravine, one of the younger Prilorians slipped, nearly falling into a chasm. Adam's reflexes kicked in and he lunged forward, grabbing the child's arm just in time. The group watched in awe as the human risked his life to save one of their own. Days into their journey, they stumbled upon an abandoned structure nestled within a grove of twisted, metallic trees. Adam's instincts told him this was no ordinary building. "Stay here," he instructed the group. "I'm going to check it out." Approaching cautiously, Adam realized it was a Prylorian research facility. The entrance was sealed, but he managed to bypass the security systems using techniques Gia had taught him. Inside, the facility was a treasure trove of information. Holographic displays flickered to life, revealing schematics for advanced weapons, a terrifying fusion of Prylorian energy technology and human ballistics. "This must be Vexthor's work," Adam muttered, quickly downloading the data to his wrist computer. As he explored further, Adam discovered a communications array. With some creative rewiring, he managed to send a burst transmission to Unity Base, alerting them to his approximate location and the impending threat. Exiting the facility, Adam shared his findings with Lyra and the group. The reality of the danger they faced sank in, and the refugees looked to Adam with revitalized commitment. Their progress was soon interrupted by the distant hum of Prylorian patrol vehicles. Adam's enhanced hearing picked up the sound long before the others, giving them precious time to prepare. "Everyone, listen carefully," Adam said, gathering the group. "We're going to use evasion tactics. I'll teach you how to cover your tracks and set false trails." Over the next hour, Adam instructed the Prylorians in basic deception techniques. They worked together, laying intricate patterns of false footprints and deliberately misleading signs of passage. As the patrol neared, Adam split the group into smaller units, each taking a different route. He remained at the rear, ensuring no one was left behind, and using his stealth suit to create distractions when necessary. The gambit worked. The patrol units, confused by the conflicting trails, eventually moved off in the wrong direction. Adam allowed himself a small smile. It was a small victory, but one that proved humans and Prylorians could work together effectively. As night fell, they made camp in a secluded cave system. The bioluminescent fungi provided a soft, ethereal light. Adam took the opportunity to tend to his injuries and reassess their situation. Lyra approached him, her scales pulsing with a soft, concerned light. "You're in pain," she observed, her empathic abilities sensing his discomfort. Adam nodded, wincing as he adjusted his makeshift bandages. "Nothing I can't handle. We need to keep moving. There's too much at stake." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "You know more than you're telling us. What's really going on, Adam?" He hesitated, weighing the risks of sharing information against the need for trust. Finally, he decided honesty was the best approach. "There's going to be an attack on Unity Base," Adam explained quietly. "Both human and Prylorian extremists are involved. If we don't stop it, everything we've worked for, this peace between our people, it could all fall apart." Lyra's scales flickered with shock and then commitment. "Then we'll help you get there. You've risked everything to help us. Let us return the favor." As the group settled in for the night, Adam took first watch. His eyes scanned the alien horizon, knowing that somewhere out there, Vexthor and his forces were preparing for war. The race against time continued, and Adam knew that every moment counted. In the distance, a strange light pulsed on the horizon. Adam squinted, trying to make out its source. It could be natural phenomenon, or something far more dangerous. He gripped his weapon tightly, ready for whatever challenges the alien world might throw at them next. The pulsing light on the horizon grew brighter, casting an eerie glow across the alien landscape. Adam's muscles tensed as he prepared for a potential threat, but as the source came into view, he realized it was a natural phenomenon, a field of bioluminescent flora that stretched as far as the eye could see. With the immediate danger past, Adam's mind returned to his mission. The intelligence he carried about the impending attack on Unity Base burned in his consciousness, driving him forward despite his exhaustion and injuries. He knew he couldn't afford to rest any longer. As the first rays of the alien sun broke over the crystalline formations, Adam roused the group of Prilorian refugees. "We need to move," he said, his voice low but urgent. "There's not much time." Lyra translated his words, and the Prilorians quickly gathered their meager belongings. As they set out, Adam's enhanced hearing picked up a faint but familiar sound, the hum of a Prilorian dropship. "Everyone, take cover," Adam hissed, guiding the group behind a cluster of towering crystal formations. The dropship passed overhead, its sleek form barely visible against the early morning sky. Adam's eyes narrowed as he caught sight of a figure standing in the open bay door, Commander Krell, the notorious Prilorian extremist. In that moment, Adam made a difficult decision. He turned to Lyra, his expression grave. "I need you to lead the group to safety," he said. "There's something I have to do." Lyra's scales pulsed with concern. "You're going after Krell, aren't you?" Adam nodded. "If I don't stop him, everything we've fought for could be lost. Can I count on you?" Lyra's scales shifted to a determined blue. "We'll make it to safety. Just be careful, Adam." With a final nod to the group, Adam set off in pursuit of the dropship. The chase had begun. The terrain beneath Adam's feet shifted from crystalline formations to dense, alien forest. Massive trees with iridescent bark towered above him, their canopies casting strange, shifting shadows. Adam pushed through the underbrush, his eyes never leaving the distant speck of the dropship. As he ran, Adam's mind raced through the survival techniques Gia had taught him. He identified several carnivorous plants, their vibrant colors a warning sign of the danger they posed. Skirting around a cluster of particularly vicious-looking specimens, Adam pressed on. The forest gave way to a vast plain of bioluminescent vegetation. The ground beneath Adam's feet pulsed with an otherworldly light, creating a disorienting effect. He stumbled briefly but quickly regained his footing, refusing to let the alien environment slow him down. Hours passed, and the chase led Adam to the foot of a towering mountain range. The dropship had disappeared behind the peaks, but Adam knew he couldn't give up. Gritting his teeth against the pain of his injuries, he began to climb. The ascent was treacherous. Loose rocks gave way under Adam's hands, and the thin air made each breath a struggle. But his superior human endurance allowed him to push on where others might have faltered. As he crested a particularly steep incline, Adam's eyes widened at the sight before him. A wide river of corrosive liquid cut through the mountain pass, its surface bubbling and hissing ominously. Adam scanned the area, his mind working quickly. He spotted a cluster of hollow, reed-like plants growing near the riverbank. Moving swiftly, he gathered several of the reeds and began weaving them together, creating a makeshift raft. The raft barely held together as Adam pushed it into the corrosive river, but it was enough. He used a long reed as a pole, guiding the fragile craft across the dangerous waters. The acrid fumes stung his eyes and throat, but he pressed on, his persistence unwavering. On the other side of the river, Adam paused to catch his breath. The dropship was nowhere in sight, but a trail of disturbed vegetation gave him a direction to follow. As he set off once more, Adam's foot caught on something half buried in the ground. Kneeling down, he brushed away the soil to reveal an ancient stone tablet covered in unfamiliar glyphs. Adam's eyes widened as he recognized symbols that seemed to depict both humans and Prilorians, standing together beneath what looked like a distant star system. Quickly, Adam activated his helmet's recording device, capturing images of the tablet. This discovery could have enormous implications for human-Prilorian relations, but he couldn't afford to dwell on it now. The chase continued. As Adam pushed deeper into the alien wilderness, he became aware of subtle changes in the environment. The vegetation took on a crystalline quality, and the air hummed with an unsettling energy. He had entered the shattered lands. Pockets of altered gravity made each step a challenge. One moment Adam felt as light as a feather. The next he struggled to lift his foot off the ground. The landscape itself seemed to shift and warp, playing tricks on his senses. Suddenly, a garbled transmission crackled through Adam's communicator. The message was barely audible, distorted by the strange energies of the shattered lands, but he managed to make out a few crucial words. Unity base. Attack. Vextor. Imminent. The warning added a new urgency to Adam's pursuit. He pushed himself harder, ignoring the increasing discomfort caused by prolonged exposure to the unstable environment. His vision began to blur, and his movements became erratic, but he refused to slow down. As Adam stumbled through a field of crystallized vegetation, his enhanced hearing picked up the sound of movement ahead. He dropped into a crouch, his hand moving to his weapon. A group of figures emerged from behind a cluster of crystal formations. Their bodies were twisted and misshapen, barely recognizable as Prilorian. Adam's heart raced as he realized he was face to face with the mutated survivors of the Shattered Lands. The mutated Prilorians advanced, their intentions unclear. Adam raised his hands in a gesture of peace, his mind racing to find a way to communicate. The leader of the group, a female with iridescent scales, stepped forward, her eyes fixed on Adam with a mixture of curiosity and hostility. "I'm not here to harm you," Adam said, his voice calm despite the tension. He repeated the phrase in broken Prilorian, hoping they would understand. The female tilted her head, studying Adam intently. After a long moment, she spoke, her voice a raspy whisper. "Human. Why here?" Adam saw his chance. "I'm pursuing a Prilorian named Krell. He's dangerous. Have you seen him?" The mutated Prilorians exchanged glances, a silent communication passing between them. Finally, the female nodded. "Krell. Passed. To hidden place." Adam's pulse quickened. "Can you show me?" The female, who introduced herself as Zil, agreed to guide Adam to the hidden Prilorian base. As they set off together, Adam noticed the effects of the shattered lands growing stronger. His movements became more erratic, and the world around him seemed to pulse and shift. Despite his deteriorating condition, Adam pushed on. The hidden base came into view, a massive structure seamlessly integrated into the crystalline landscape. And there, just ahead, was Commander Krell, his distinctive armor gleaming in the strange light of the shattered lands. With a final burst of energy, Adam closed the distance. Krell turned, his eyes widening in surprise as he saw the human bearing down on him. There was no time for words or threats. In an instant, the two were locked in combat, their battle unfolding amidst the swirling energy fields and warped reality of the shattered lands. Adam's human adaptability clashed against Krell's Prilorian strength and advanced battle armor. Punches were thrown, blocks were made, each combatant searching for an advantage in the chaotic environment. The very ground beneath their feet seemed to shift and buckle, adding an extra layer of unpredictability to the fight. As they grappled, Adam caught glimpses of the hidden base looming behind them. Whatever secrets it held, whatever weapon lay within its walls, could change the course of the war. With renewed commitment, Adam pressed his attack, knowing that the fate of Unity Base and the fragile peace between humans and Prilorians hung in the balance. The battle raged on, neither combatant willing to give ground. In the distance, the mutated Prilorians watched, silent witnesses to a conflict that would shape the future of both their races. And all around them, the shattered lands pulsed with alien energy, indifferent to the struggles of those caught in its grip. Grasp. The energy fluctuations grew more intense, warping reality around the two combatants. Adam's body jerked violently as a gravitational surge pulled him towards Krell. He used the momentum to his advantage, delivering a powerful blow to the Prilorian's midsection. Krell stumbled back, his armor absorbing most of the impact. "You're persistent, human," Krell growled, his voice distorted by his helmet speakers. "But you can't stop what's coming." Adam didn't waste breath on a response. He circled Krell, analyzing the Prilorian's movements. The unstable environment was affecting them both, but Adam's human adaptability gave him an edge. He noticed Krell's movements, becoming increasingly erratic as the commander struggled to compensate for the shifting gravity. A sudden spatial distortion sent them both tumbling across a field of crystalline formations. Adam felt the sharp edges slice through his suit, but he pushed the pain aside. He rolled to his feet, narrowly avoiding a swipe from Krell's armored fist. The fight carried them closer to the hidden base, its imposing structure looming in the background. Adam's enhanced vision caught glimpses of movement within, guards, perhaps, or other Prilorian personnel unaware of the battle unfolding outside. As they grappled, Adam's fingers brushed against a weak point in Krell's armor, a small gap near the joints, pulsing with the same energy that saturated the air around them. A plan formed in his mind. Adam feinted, aiming a punch at Krell's head. The Prilorian raised his arms to block, leaving his midsection exposed. In a lightning-fast move, Adam redirected his attack, striking precisely at the vulnerable spot he'd identified. There was a burst of energy, and Krell's armor seized up. The Prilorian commander froze, trapped within his own protective shell. "What have you done?" Krell snarled, straining against the locked joints of his suit. Adam wasted no time. He secured Krell's immobilized form and began his interrogation. "The weapon inside the base. What is it? How do we stop it?" Krell resisted at first, but as the reality of his defeat sank in, his determination crumbled. "It's called the harmonic disruptor," he admitted, his voice heavy with bitterness. "It can manipulate matter at its most fundamental level. Planets, entire systems, nothing would be safe." Using Krell's biometric data, Adam gained access to the hidden base. The interior was a marvel of Prilorian engineering, with pulsating energy conduits snaking along the walls and holographic interfaces flickering in and out of existence. Adam moved swiftly through the facility, following Krell's reluctant directions. The central chamber housing the harmonic disruptor wasn't far, but as he rounded a corner, he found himself face to face with a squad of elite Prilorian guards. Time seemed to slow as Adam assessed the situation. He was outnumbered, exhausted from the chase and his fight with Krell. But he couldn't fail now, not when he was so close. Adam's tactical training kicked in. He noticed a power junction on the wall, its casing vibrating with barely held back energy. Without hesitation, he fired a precise shot, overloading the system. The resulting explosion sent the guards scrambling for cover. Using the chaos to his advantage, Adam slipped past the disoriented squad. He manipulated a nearby holographic projector, creating illusory duplicates of himself to further confuse his pursuers. As he fought his way through the facility, a familiar face caught his eye. Zara, the Prilorian resistance leader he'd encountered earlier, was among the guards. Her presence here, among Vextor's forces, revealed her true allegiance. The realization hit Adam hard. How many other supposed allies were actually working against the peace process? Despite the shock of Zara's betrayal, Adam pressed on. He couldn't afford to let it distract him from his mission. With a combination of stealth and calculated strikes, he managed to subdue the remaining guards and reach the chamber housing the harmonic disruptor. The device dominated the room, a massive, pulsating sphere of energy surrounded by complex control systems. Adam approached cautiously, his mind racing as he tried to determine how to disable it. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. A computerized voice announced the activation of a self-destruct sequence. Adam's heart raced as he realized the base's systems had detected his unauthorized access. With time running out, Adam faced a critical decision. Should he attempt to disable the harmonic disruptor, risking being caught in the base's destruction? Or should he flee with the intelligence he'd gathered and warn Unity Base of the impending attack? As he weighed his options, Adam's communicator crackled to life. Through the static, he heard Gia's voice. "Adam, if you can hear this, Vextor's forces are mobilizing. An attack on Unity Base is imminent. We need you." The transmission added a new layer of urgency to Adam's decision. He knew that if the harmonic disruptor fell into enemy hands, it could turn the tide of the battle. With dogged perseverance, he turned to the device's control panel. Drawing on his unique understanding of both human and Prylorian technology, Adam began to reconfigure the harmonic disruptor. His fingers flew across the alien interface as he attempted to reprogram it to target Vextor's forces instead of Unity Base. The base shuddered around him as the self-destruct sequence progressed. Energy surges cascaded through the facility, causing explosions and structural collapses. The unstable environment of the shattered lands only exacerbated the destruction, creating unpredictable hazards throughout the base. Adam worked feverishly, sweat beading on his forehead as he raced against time. The floor beneath him buckled and warped, forcing him to constantly adjust his footing. Debris rained down from the ceiling, narrowly missing him as he hunched over the control panel. With seconds to spare, Adam completed the reprogramming. He initiated the harmonic disruptor's activation sequence, praying that his modifications would succeed in targeting only Vextor's forces. As the weapon powered up, Adam turned and ran. He sprinted through the collapsing base, dodging falling debris and navigating corridors warped by unstable energy fields. The structure groaned and twisted around him, threatening to become his tomb. With a final burst of speed, Adam leaped through the base's entrance. He hit the ground rolling as the facility imploded behind him, the harmonic disruptor's energy signature pulsing outward in a wave of invisible force. Panting heavily, Adam pushed himself to his feet. The hidden base was gone, reduced to a twisted mass of metal and crystal. The harmonic disruptor's energy signature continued to ripple outward, its effects yet to be seen. Despite his exhaustion, Adam knew he couldn't rest. He had to get back to Unity Base, to deliver the crucial intelligence about Vextor's plans and warn them about the uncertain outcome of his gamble with the harmonic disruptor. As he set off across the alien landscape, Adam's mind raced with the potential consequences of his actions. He had made a bold move, one that could either save or doom both human and Prylorian civilizations. The next phase of the conflict was about to begin, and Adam knew he had to be ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. With renewed drive, Adam set off across the treacherous landscape of the shattered lands. The journey back to Unity Base proved to be as challenging as the mission itself. The unstable environment, already dangerous, had been further destabilized by the activation of the harmonic disruptor. Energy fields fluctuated wildly, causing localized distortions in matter and gravity. Adam's enhanced physiology was pushed to its limits as he navigated through the hazardous terrain. One moment, he was scaling a near-vertical cliff face, his fingers finding purchase on crystalline outcroppings that pulsed with alien energy. The next, he was leaping across a chasm where gravity seemed to pull in multiple directions at once. As he pressed on, Adam noticed the spreading effects of the reprogrammed harmonic disruptor. The landscape shimmered and warped in places, creating pockets of altered reality. In one such area, he watched as a group of Vextor soldiers struggled with malfunctioning equipment, their weapons sparking and sputtering uselessly. Seizing the opportunity, Adam crept closer, using the distorted terrain as cover. He strained his ears to catch fragments of conversation, piecing together crucial details about Vextor's attack plans. Primary assault on the eastern flank. Air support compromised by these energy fluctuations. Vextor wants the base captured, not destroyed. As Adam absorbed this intelligence, a familiar face caught his eye. Thax, the rebel leader he had encountered earlier, moved among the soldiers, dressed in the uniform of Vextor's forces. Adam's mind raced. Was Thax a double agent, or had he, like Zara, been working for Vextor all along? Before Adam could ponder this further, a sound from behind made him freeze. He turned slowly to find himself face to face with a group of human scouts, their weapons trained on him. "Identify yourself," growled a grizzled soldier, his eyes narrow with suspicion. Adam raised his hand slowly. "I'm Adam Dixon, Joint Peacekeeping Force." The soldiers exchanged glances. The leader, a woman with sergeant stripes, stepped forward. "I'm Sergeant Torres. We've heard of you, Dixon. But what are you doing out here, and why do you look like you've been through a meat grinder?" Adam quickly briefed Torres and her team on the situation. The hidden Prylorian base, the harmonic disruptor, and Vextor's imminent attack. Torres's expression grew grim as she listened. "We need to get back to Unity Base now," she said. "Our defenses are stretched thin, and there are rumors of saboteurs within our ranks." Adam nodded. "I have an idea. There's an abandoned Prylorian transport not far from here. I can operate it." The team moved swiftly, making their way to the alien vehicle. Its sleek design stood out starkly against the chaotic landscape of the shattered lands. Adam placed his hand on the control panel, and the transport hummed to life, responding to the Prylorian DNA he had acquired during his time with Kraz and Gia. As they sped across the war-torn terrain, Adam maneuvered the transport with a combination of skill and intuition. The vehicle's advanced propulsion system allowed them to skim over minefields and dodge enemy patrols with relative ease. Their progress was abruptly halted as they approached the outskirts of Unity Base. A massive energy barrier shimmered before them, cutting off access to the base. "Vextor's work," Torres spat. "We've got to find a way through." Adam studied the barrier, his mind working quickly. There, he pointed to a structure several hundred meters away. "That's the power source. If we can take it out, we might create a gap." Torres nodded, her expression resolute. "My team can plant explosives. Can you handle the guards?" Adam's response was a grim smile as he checked his weapon. The raid on the power generator was swift and brutal. Adam moved like a shadow, neutralizing guards with precision strikes before they could raise the alarm. Meanwhile, Torres and her scouts worked efficiently, placing explosive charges at key points around the structure. As they retreated to a safe distance, Torres detonated the charges. The explosion lit up the sky, and the energy barrier flickered and died. But their victory was short-lived. The destruction of the generator had alerted Vextor's main force. In the distance, they could see the first wave of the attack beginning. Energy weapons lit up the sky, and massive war machines advanced across the battlefield. Unity Base's defenses responded in kind, creating a spectacular and terrifying display of futuristic warfare. Adam's eyes scanned the battlefield, quickly identifying a weak point in the attacking force's formation. He turned to Torres, his mind already formulating a plan. "We can break through there," he said, pointing to a gap between two advancing columns. "It'll be tight, but this transport has the speed to make it." Torres nodded, her face set with persistence. "Lead the way, Dixon. We're with you." Adam took the controls, his hands steady despite the chaos around them. He plotted a course that would take them through a gauntlet of enemy fire, pushing the Prylorian transport to its limits. As they launched forward, energy bolts sizzled past them, the air filled with the sound of explosions and the whine of advanced weaponry. Adam's world narrowed to the controls beneath his hands and the rapidly approaching goal of Unity Base. Through the transport's view screen, he could see the defenders of Unity Base, humans and Prylorians fighting side by side against Vextor's forces. The knowledge he carried about the hidden Prylorian base and Vextor's plans could turn the tide of this battle. But first, they had to survive this mad dash through the heart of the enemy's assault. Adam gritted his teeth and pushed the transport even faster, the battle raging around them as they raced towards the uncertain sanctuary of Unity Base. Base. Adam's heart raced as he piloted the Prylorian transport through the chaos of the battlefield. Energy bolts sizzled past, their heat palpable even through the vehicle's shielding. The air crackled with the sound of explosions and the whine of advanced weaponry. As they hurtled towards Unity Base, the effects of the reprogrammed harmonic disruptor became increasingly apparent. The fabric of reality around them seemed to warp and twist, creating shimmering pockets of distorted space. Gravity fluctuated wildly, causing the transport to lurch and buck beneath Adam's steady hands. "Hold on!" Adam called out to Torres and her team as he swerved to avoid a sudden gravitational anomaly. The transport skimmed over a patch of ground where the laws of physics seemed to bend, the landscape beneath them stretching and contracting like a funhouse mirror. Through the view screen, Adam spotted clusters of Vextor's forces struggling with malfunctioning equipment. Energy weapons sparked and fizzled uselessly in their hands, creating brief windows of opportunity for their advance. "There!" Torres pointed to a gap between two advancing columns of enemy troops. "That's our best shot at breaking through." Adam nodded, his fingers dancing across the alien controls as he plotted their course. The transport surged forward, its engines whining as Adam pushed them to their limits. Suddenly, a massive shape loomed on the horizon. Adam's eyes widened as he recognized a colossal Prylorian war machine leading the assault on Unity Base. The behemoth towered over the battlefield, its armor gleaming and energy weapons pulsing with deadly intent. "That thing could tear through the base's defenses like they're not even there," Torres muttered, her face grim. Adam's mind raced. They needed to warn Unity Base and find a way to neutralize that war machine. He reached for the transport's communication system, his fingers flying over the unfamiliar controls as he attempted to establish a connection. Static crackled through the speakers before a familiar voice broke through. "Identify yourself. This is Unity Base." "Kraz, it's Adam. We're inbound with critical intelligence. What's the situation there?" Kraz's voice was strained, the sound of battle audible in the background. "Adam, thank the stars. We're holding, but barely. Our defenses are stretched thin, and we can't withstand a prolonged siege. That war machine out there, if it reaches us, we're done for." "Understood. We're going to try to breach the enemy lines and make it to you. Can you provide any support?" "Negative. We're pinned down here." "You're on your own, Adam. Good luck." As the communication cut out, Adam turned to Torres. "We need a diversion. Use the transport's weapons to hit their flank. I'll make a run for the base on foot." Torres nodded, her expression resolute. "We've got your back, Dixon. Go." Adam brought the transport to a sudden halt behind a crystalline outcropping, providing momentary cover. As Torres and her team scrambled to man the weapon systems, Adam prepared for his sprint. The transport's weapons roared to life, unleashing a barrage of energy bolts at Vextor's forces. The sudden attack caught the enemy off guard, creating chaos in their ranks. Adam seized the moment, leaping from the transport and hitting the ground running. His enhanced physiology allowed him to push beyond normal human limits as he sprinted across the war-torn landscape. Energy bolts sizzled past him, close enough that he could feel the heat on his skin. He dodged and weaved, using the terrain and the harmonic disruptor's distortions to his advantage. As he neared the base's perimeter, a familiar presence touched his mind. Lyra, the young Prylorian empath he had rescued earlier, stood just beyond the enemy lines. Her eyes were closed in concentration, her empathic abilities reaching out to guide him. "Adam!" Lyra called out, her voice carrying over the din of battle. "This way!" Following Lyra's guidance, Adam navigated through a series of spatial distortions, avoiding hidden enemy positions and dangerous anomalies. But their progress was suddenly halted as the massive Prylorian war machine lumbered into view, its weapons trained directly on them. Adam's mind raced as he assessed their options. They couldn't outrun or outgun the behemoth, and retreat wasn't an option. His eyes darted around the battlefield, taking in the fallen Prylorian soldiers and damaged equipment scattered across the ground. An idea formed in his mind, born of desperation and his unique understanding of both human and Prylorian technology. "Lyra," he called out, "I need you to use your abilities. Find weak points in that thing's energy field." As Lyra concentrated, her face scrunched in effort, Adam began to scavenge components from the debris around them. His hands moved with practiced efficiency, assembling a makeshift device from the alien technology. "There!" Lyra pointed towards the war machine's underbelly. "Its field is weakest there, fluctuating with each step." Adam nodded, making final adjustments to his cobbled-together creation. This should amplify the harmonic disruptor's effects in a localized area. If we can get close enough. The war machine's weapons began to glow with building energy, preparing to fire. Adam and Lyra sprinted towards it, zigzagging to avoid its targeting systems. As they neared its massive feet, Adam activated his device. The air around them shimmered and warped as the amplified effects of the harmonic disruptor took hold. The war machine's energy systems fluctuated wildly, its weapons misfiring in random directions. Its propulsion systems failed, leaving the once unstoppable juggernaut immobilized and vulnerable. The sudden neutralization of their most powerful asset threw Vexthor's forces into disarray. Unity Base's defenders seized the opportunity, launching a fierce counterattack. With the immediate threat neutralized, Adam and Lyra resumed their sprint towards Unity Base. As they approached the perimeter, a joint team of human and Prylorian defenders emerged to meet them, led by a familiar face. "Gia," Adam called out, relief flooding through him as he saw his Prylorian friend. Their reunion was brief but emotional, cut short by the urgency of the situation. Adam quickly shared the critical intelligence he had gathered about Vexthor's plans and the hidden Prylorian base. Gia's expression grew grave as she absorbed the information. "Your return couldn't have come at a better time, Adam. Tensions within the base have been at a breaking point. Suspected saboteur. We've been fighting an enemy within as well as without." As they hurried towards the command center, Adam could see the toll the siege had taken on Unity Base. Defenders moved with weary drive, their faces etched with exhaustion and worry. But as news of Adam's return and the intelligence he brought spread, a palpable sense of renewed hope began to ripple through the ranks. The command center was a hive of activity as Adam was ushered inside. Maps and holographic displays showed the ongoing battle, with Vexthor's forces regrouping for another assault. As Adam prepared to brief the leadership, he knew that the most challenging part of his mission still lay ahead. The fate of both humans and Prylorians hung in the balance. Adam took a deep breath, steeling himself for the trials to come. The war was nowhere near the end, but for the first time in what felt like ages, they had a fighting chance. Adam took a deep breath, his eyes scanning the holographic displays that filled the command center. The air was thick with tension as he prepared to deliver his briefing. General Marcus Steele and Commander ZYX stood at opposite ends of the central table, their postures rigid and eyes locked in a silent battle of wills. "Gentlemen," Adam began, his voice steady despite the weight of the information he carried, "I have intelligence that may explain the recent sabotage attempts and shed light on Vexthor's true intentions." As Adam spoke, detailing the hidden Prylorian base, the harmonic disruptor weapon, and Vexthor's plan to destabilize Unity Base from within, he could see the shock and disbelief rippling through the assembled officers. The revelation of Zar's betrayal hit like a physical blow, causing several high-ranking officials to exchange worried glances. General Steele's face hardened as he processed the information. "This changes everything," he growled, turning to a nearby communications officer. "Initiate a base-wide security lockdown. No one enters or leaves without my direct authorization. Commander ZYX nodded in agreement, his antennae twitching with agitation. We must conduct a thorough loyalty screening immediately. If Vexthor has infiltrated our ranks to this extent, we cannot trust anyone. As the command center erupted into a flurry of activity, Adam found himself working closely with Kraz and Gia. They set up a makeshift screening station, combining human polygraph equipment with Prylorian empathic sensors. The process was grueling, each interview fraught with tension as they sought to uncover any hint of deception. Hours passed in a blur of faces and voices. Adam's enhanced senses were pushed to their limits as he observed micro-expressions and monitored physiological responses. The screenings yielded results, exposing several infiltrators, including a trusted human lieutenant and 2 Prylorian engineers. Each discovery sent shockwaves through the base, deepening the atmosphere of paranoia and mistrust. As the internal threat was being addressed, a new alert blared through the command center. Long-range scanners had detected a massive buildup of Vexthor's forces on the horizon. The enemy army, having regrouped after their initial assault, was preparing for a final, all-out attack on Unity Base. Adam's mind raced as he analyzed the tactical displays. The base's defenses, while formidable, wouldn't be enough to withstand a prolonged siege. They needed a game-changer. The harmonic disruptor, Adam said suddenly, drawing the attention of General Steele and Commander ZYX. We can use what we know about it to our advantage. If we modify our shield generators to emit a frequency that amplifies the disruptor's effects, we could create a wide-area disruption field around the base. The 2 leaders exchanged glances, a spark of hope igniting in their eyes. It's risky, General Steele mused, but it might be our best shot. Agreed, Commander ZYX added, but implementing such a system will require close cooperation between our engineers. Can we overcome the mistrust that Vexthor has sown among us? Adam looked around the room, meeting the eyes of both humans and Prylorians. We have to, he said firmly. Our survival depends on it. With the plan approved, Adam found himself overseeing a joint team of human and Prylorian engineers. Despite lingering tensions, the shared goal of survival began to bridge the gap between the 2 species. Adam's unique understanding of both technologies proved invaluable as they worked to modify the shield generators. As the engineers labored, Adam's comlink chirped with an incoming transmission. His heart raced as he recognized the encryption pattern. It was Thax, the undercover Prylorian rebel. Adam! Thax's voice came through, distorted but urgent. Vexthor has a countermeasure to the harmonic disruptor, a device that could render your new defenses useless. You need to act fast. The information sent a chill down Adam's spine. He quickly relayed the warning to General Steele and Commander ZYX, who paled at the implications. We need to take out that countermeasure, Adam said, his mind already formulating a plan. A small team operating behind enemy lines. It's high risk, but it might be our only chance. The leaders reluctantly agreed, and soon Adam found himself assembling an elite strike team. Kraz and Gia volunteered immediately, their skills in Prylorian military protocols and technical expertise, respectively, making them invaluable assets. As they prepared for departure, a familiar voice called out, "I'm coming too." Lyra, the young Prylorian empath, approached with persistence in her eyes. "My abilities could warn you of dangers before they're visible." Adam hesitated, weighing the risks against the potential benefits. Finally, he nodded. "All right, but stay close and follow orders." The team boarded a specially modified stealth transport, the air heavy with the weight of their mission. As they prepared for launch, the first impacts from Vexthor's advancing army shook the base. Through the view screen, Adam could see the shimmering disruption field activating, causing widespread malfunctions in the enemy's front lines. But at the center of Vexthor's forces, a massive vehicle loomed, unaffected by the field. Intelligence quickly identified it as Vextor's command vehicle, likely housing the countermeasure device. "That's our target," Adam said, pointing to the behemoth on the tactical display. "We get in, disable the device, and get out. The fate of both our peoples depends on it." With a final nod to his team, Adam engaged the transport's engines. They shot out of the hangar, hugging the ground to avoid detection. Behind them, Unity Base's outer defenses lit up as they engaged the approaching enemy. As they sped towards the heart of Vextor's army, Adam's grip tightened on the controls. The most dangerous phase of the conflict was about to begin, and the margin for error was non-existent. With Lyra's empathic senses on high alert and the rest of the team ready for action, they pressed on into the unknown, their mission clear and the stakes higher than ever before. As they sped towards the heart of Vextor's army, Adam's grip tightened on the controls. The transport shuddered as it entered a dense field of energy distortions, remnants of the ongoing battle between Unity Base and Vextor's forces. Adam's enhanced reflexes were put to the test as he navigated through the chaos, narrowly avoiding chunks of debris and stray weapons fire. "Incoming!" Lyra's voice cut through the tension. Her eyes were closed in concentration, her empathic abilities reaching out beyond the confines of their vessel. 3 o'clock high. Adam banked hard to the left, narrowly avoiding a massive piece of twisted metal that hurtled past them. "Good catch, Lyra," he said, his eyes never leaving the view screen. "Keep it up." As they approached the outer perimeter of Vextor's forces, Adam brought the transport down into a ravine, concealing it from enemy patrols. "This is where we go silent," he said, powering down the engines. "Portable cloaking devices on. Remember, they're based on Prylorian tech, so they're not perfect. Stay low, stay quiet." The team disembarked, activating their cloaking devices. The air around them shimmered briefly before they seemingly vanished from sight. Adam led the way, his enhanced senses on high alert as they navigated through the enemy encampment. The scale of Vextor's army was staggering. Thousands of Prylorian soldiers moved with purpose, readying weapons and war machines for the final assault on Unity Base. Massive energy cannons were being calibrated, their barrels pointed ominously towards the distant human Prylorian stronghold. "If we fail," Kraz whispered, his voice tight with tension, "there won't be anything left to go back to." Adam nodded grimly. "Then we don't fail." As they approached Vextor's command vehicle, a new obstacle presented itself. A shimmering energy barrier surrounded the massive structure, its surface rippling with coruscating patterns of light. Gia stepped forward. Her eyes narrowed as she analyzed the barrier. "This is unexpected," she said, her antennae twitching. "The frequency, it's designed to counteract the harmonic disruptor's effects. This must be the countermeasure Thax warned us about." Adam's mind raced, formulating a plan. "Kraz, we need a diversion. There's an ammunition depot about 200 meters to our left. Think you can make some noise?" Kraz grinned, his mandibles clicking with anticipation. "Music to my ears." "Gia, can you recalibrate our cloaking devices to match the barrier's frequency? It might let us pass through undetected." Gia nodded, already pulling tools from her pack. "It's possible, but it'll leave us exposed once we're inside. The recalibration will render the cloaks useless against normal detection methods." "It's a risk we'll have to take," Adam said. "Lyra, stay close to me. Your empathic abilities might be our only early warning system once we're in." As Gia worked on the cloaking devices, Kraz slipped away towards the ammunition depot. Minutes later, a series of explosions rocked the encampment. Alarms blared as Prylorian soldiers rushed to contain the fires spreading from the destroyed depot. "Now!" Adam hissed, leading Gia and Lyra towards the energy barrier. They passed through it with a brief tingling sensation, their cloaking devices flickering and then failing as they entered the protected zone. Inside, They moved swiftly towards the looming command vehicle. It was even larger up close, its hull dripping with weapons and sensor arrays. Lyra's eyes darted back and forth, her empathic senses extended. "Patrol, coming around the corner," she whispered. They pressed themselves against the vehicle's hull, holding their breath as a group of Prylorian soldiers marched past, oblivious to their presence. "We need to split up," Adam said as they reached an access hatch. "Gia, find the countermeasure device and disable it. Lyra and I will search for Vexthor." Gia nodded, her expression determined. "Be careful. I have a feeling things are about to get much more complicated." As they parted ways, Adam and Lyra made their way deeper into the command vehicle. The interior was a maze of corridors and chambers, each more heavily fortified than the last. They passed through security checkpoints, Lyra's abilities allowing them to time their movements between patrols. Suddenly, Lyra grabbed Adam's arm, her eyes wide. "Adam, I sense something terrible. This way." She led him to a sealed door, its surface marked with warning symbols in Prylorian script. Adam overrode the lock, and they stepped into a scene straight out of a nightmare. The chamber was filled with rows of stasis pods, each containing a twisted amalgamation of Prylorian and human features. Holographic displays flickered with data on genetic sequences and biomechanical modifications. "What is this?" Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. Adam's mind focused as he examined the nearest pod. Genetic experimentation. Vexthor isn't just trying to win this war. He's trying to create some kind of hybrid species. Before they could investigate further, alarms began to blare throughout the command vehicle. A voice, deep and resonant, echoed through the chamber. "Intruders detected in Sector 7. All units converge. Capture if possible. Terminate if necessary." Adam's comm link crackled to life. "Adam!" Gia's voice came through, breathless and urgent. "I've found the countermeasure device, but it's more complex than we thought. I need time to shut it down completely." "Do what you can," Adam replied. "We'll try to buy you some time." He turned to Lyra, his expression grim. "Ready for a fight?" Lyra nodded, her earlier fear replaced by dedication. "Let's end this." They rushed out of the laboratory, heading towards the heart of the command vehicle. As they ran, Adam could hear the sounds of combat growing louder. They were about to confront Vexthor himself, and the fate of two species hung in the balance. The corridor ahead opened into a vast chamber, dominated by a massive control console. And there, towering over a group of Prylorian officers, stood Vexthor. His body was a fusion of organic and mechanical parts, cybernetic enhancements gleaming under the harsh light. Vexthor turned, his eyes locking onto Adam and Lyra. A cruel smile spread across his face as he raised a weapon that pulsed with strange energy. "Welcome, humans," he said, his voice a metallic growl. "You've come just in time to witness the birth of a new era." Adam's muscles tensed, ready for action. The final confrontation was about to begin, and everything they had fought for hung in the balance. Balance. Adam's muscles tensed, ready for action. The final confrontation was about to begin, and everything they had fought for hung in the balance. Suddenly, a familiar voice crackled through Adam's comlink. "Adam, the countermeasure is down." Gia's triumphant shout filled his ear. Unity Base's defenses should be at full strength now. Vexthor's eyes widened in shock, his cybernetic implants flashing wildly. "Impossible!" he roared, raising his weapon. Adam moved with enhanced speed, tackling Lyra to the ground as a burst of energy seared the air where they had been standing. The chamber erupted into chaos as Prylorian officers scattered, caught between their leader and the intruders. "Lyra, can you sense any weaknesses?" Adam asked, his eyes scanning for cover. The young empath closed her eyes, her antennae quivering. "His cybernetics." They're not fully integrated. There's pain, conflict within him. Adam nodded, formulating a plan. He tapped his comlink. Kraz, we need an extraction. Bring the transport to the command vehicle's main hangar. On my way, Kraz responded, but we got company up here. Vexthor's forces are in disarray, but they're still putting up a fight. Adam ducked behind a console as another energy blast scorched the air. He could hear the distant rumble of explosions. Unity Base's renewed offensive taking its toll on Vexthor's army. It's over, Vexthor, Adam called out. Your forces are in retreat. Surrender now, and we can end this without further bloodshed. Vexthor's laughter echoed through the chamber, a harsh, metallic sound. Surrender? You naive fool. This is merely the beginning. My work will reshape the galaxy. The Prylorian leader stepped forward, his cybernetic arm transforming into a massive cannon. Energy crackled along its length as he took aim at Adam. In that moment, Lyra sprang into action. She reached out with her empathic abilities, projecting a wave of calm and confusion towards Vexthor. The Prylorian leader stumbled, his cannon arm wavering. Adam seized the opportunity. He launched himself across the room, colliding with Vexthor in a tangle of limbs. They crashed to the ground, grappling for control. Vexthor was incredibly strong, his cybernetic enhancements giving him an edge. But Adam's own augmentations, combined with his combat training, allowed him to hold his own. As they fought, Adam could feel the conflict within Vexthor that Lyra had sensed. The integration of organic and mechanical was imperfect, causing the Prylorian leader pain and instability. Lyra's voice cut through the chaos. Adam, his left shoulder. The connection is weakest there. Adam twisted, bringing his elbow down hard on the spot Lyra had indicated. Vexthor howled in pain as sparks erupted from the damaged cybernetics. His grip loosened, and Adam seized the advantage. With a series of swift, precise strikes, Adam targeted the weak points in Vexthor's augmentations. The Prylorian leader's movements became erratic, his systems failing. Finally, with a resounding crack, Adam struck the base of Vexthor's skull. The Prylorian's eyes rolled back, and he collapsed to the ground unconscious. Panting heavily, Adam stood over the fallen leader. He tapped his comlink. Gia, we've got Vexthor. Meet us at the extraction point. As if on cue, the entire command vehicle shuddered. Kraz's voice came through the comlink. I've docked with the hangar, but we need to move fast. This whole place is coming apart. Adam hefted Vexthor's unconscious form over his shoulder, nodding to Lyra. They raced through the corridors of the command vehicle, alarms blaring around them. Gia joined them en route, clutching a data drive filled with invaluable intelligence. They burst into the hangar just as another explosion rocked the structure. Kraz stood at the entrance to their transport, laying down covering fire as stray energy blasts peppered the area. Come on, Kraz shouted, waving them forward. Adam and his team sprinted across the hangar floor, dodging debris and weapons fire. They piled into the transport, Vexthor's limp form unceremoniously dumped in a corner. Go, go, go! Adam yelled as the hangar doors began to buckle. Kraz gunned the engines, and the transport shot out of the disintegrating command vehicle. They streaked across the battlefield, weaving through the chaos of the ongoing fight. As they approached Unity Base, Adam contacted the command center. This is Adam. We have Vexthor in custody and are requesting emergency landing clearance. We need a secure holding facility ready. General Steele's voice crackled through the comlink. Clearance granted, Adam. Well done. But be advised, we're detecting a new threat. Long-range sensors have picked up a massive Prylorian battleship entering the system. Adam's heart sank as he processed this new information. He looked at his team, their faces a mixture of exhaustion and purpose. They had won a significant victory, but it was clear that the war was not nearly finished. As the transport descended towards Unity Base, Adam could see the ongoing battle between the Human-Prilorian Alliance and the remnants of Vex Thor's forces. The destruction of the command vehicle had thrown the enemy into disarray, but pockets of resistance remained. The transport touched down on a secure landing pad, where General Steele and Commander ZYX were waiting with a heavily armed security detail. As the team disembarked, Adam could see the mix of relief and concern on the leaders' faces. "Excellent work, all of you," General Steele said, his eyes fixed on the unconscious form of Vex Thor. "This is a game-changer. But we've got a new problem on our hands." Commander ZYX nodded grimly. "The battleship you detected, we've identified it as the Vrock's Vengeance. It appears to be General Vrock's failsafe, programmed to intervene if Vex Thor's forces were defeated." Adam's mind raced, already formulating new strategies. "We need to act fast," he said. "With Vex Thor's forces in disarray, we have a window of opportunity. But that battleship could change everything." General Steele agreed. "We're adapting our strategy as we speak. But first, we need to secure Vex Thor and debrief your team. There's no telling what kind of information you've uncovered." As they moved towards the base's interior, Adam couldn't shake the feeling that the most challenging part of their fight was yet to come. The capture of Vex Thor was a significant victory, but with the Vrock's Vengeance looming above, the fate of both human and Prilorian civilizations still hung in the balance. Adam knew that the decisions and actions taken in the next few hours would be crucial. As they entered the base, he began to outline his plan for a coordinated offensive against the remaining enemy strongholds. The war wasn't over, but for the first time in a long while, Adam felt a glimmer of hope. Together, humans and Prilorians might just have a chance at securing a lasting peace. Adam's mind raced as he processed the implications of the incoming Prilorian battleship. He turned to his team, their faces a mixture of willpower and apprehension. "We need to move fast," he said, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Our victory here won't mean much if that battleship reaches the planet." As they entered Unity Base's command center, a flurry of activity greeted them. Technicians and officers rushed between stations, coordinating defense efforts and analyzing incoming data. General Steele waved them over to a large holographic display. "Adam, we've got some new intel," Steele said, his face grim. "Long-range scanners have picked up more than just that battleship." The hologram flickered, revealing a network of hidden structures beneath the planet's surface. Adam's eyes widened as he took in the information. "Underground facilities," he muttered, his mind already formulating new strategies. "Backup command centers?" Commander ZYX nodded. "It appears Vex Thor was more prepared than we anticipated. These facilities complicate our ground offensive significantly." Adam's gaze fell on the unconscious form of Vex Thor, now secured in a containment field. "We need information," he said, "and I know just where to get it." The interrogation of Vex Thor proved challenging. The Prilorian leader's cybernetic enhancements resisted standard questioning techniques. But a combination of Lyra's empathic abilities and advanced Prilorian technology eventually broke through his defenses. Vex Thor's eyes gleamed with a mixture of hatred and grudging respect as he spoke. "You think you won? My work ensures the survival of our species, even if I fall." Despite his bravado, Vex Thor revealed crucial information about the underground facilities, including their locations and defensive capabilities. Most importantly, he disclosed the existence of a master control hub hidden beneath a mountain range. Armed with this new intelligence, Adam quickly devised a multi-pronged strategy. He gathered his team and key alliance leaders around a tactical display. "We'll split into 3 main groups," Adam explained, highlighting different areas of the map. "Kraz, you'll lead a team to neutralize these underground facilities. Gia, your objective is the Master Control Hub. I'll command the main assault force against the remaining enemy strongholds on the surface." As the teams prepared for deployment, a commotion near the engineering bay caught Adam's attention. He rushed over to find a group of human and Prilorian engineers clustered around a strange device. "We've done it!" one of the human engineers exclaimed. "We've adapted the harmonic disruptor technology into a prototype weapon." Adam examined the device, his excitement tempered by caution. "What's the catch?" The Prilorian engineer, Zir-Naa, stepped forward. "It requires direct contact with the ship's hull to be effective. We'll need to get it onto the battleship somehow." Adam nodded, his mind already formulating a plan. "We'll need a space operation in addition to our ground assault. Lyra, I want you to lead this mission. Take Sergeant Jax and Zir-Naa with you." As final preparations were made, Adam received an unexpected transmission. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the face of Zir-Naa, leader of the Prilorian resistance. "Adam," Zir-Naa said, her voice filled with urgency, "my operatives are in position. We're ready to coordinate with your offensive and provide insider intelligence." Adam quickly integrated this new asset into his battle plan, grateful for the additional support. With all pieces in place, he gave the order to begin the operation. The planet's surface erupted into chaos as Adam's main force engaged the entrenched enemy positions. The sound of energy weapons and explosions filled the air as human and Prilorian allies pushed forward together. Adam led from the front, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to dodge incoming fire while returning precise shots. As they advanced, he noticed something disturbing about some of the enemy soldiers. "General Steele," he called over the comlink, "I'm seeing signs of genetic manipulation in these troops. Vexthor's experiments weren't just confined to that lab we found." Before Steele could respond, the sky darkened. The massive form of the Vrock's vengeance began its descent towards the planet's surface. In orbit, Lyra's team maneuvered their commandeered Prilorian shuttle towards the looming battleship. Sergeant Jax's hands flew over the controls, guiding them through a field of defensive fire. "Approaching the target," Jax called out. "Prepare for docking sequence." Lyra closed her eyes, reaching out with her empathic abilities. She could sense the crew of the battleship, their mix of confidence and fear. Using this insight, she guided Jax through gaps in their defenses. With a metallic clang, their shuttle attached to the hull of the Vrock's vengeance. Lyra hefted the prototype harmonic disruptor. "Remember," she said to her team, "we need to reach the main reactor. Stay alert and move fast." As they breached the battleship's outer hull, alarms blared throughout the vessel. Lyra led her team through the labyrinthine corridors, fighting against both crew members and automated defense systems. Meanwhile, beneath the planet's surface, Kraw's team infiltrated the network of hidden facilities. They moved with precision, using a combination of stealth technology and Prilorian hacking techniques to disable defenses and secure valuable intelligence. "Adam," Kraw's voice crackled over the comlink, "we've found more than just weapons down here. There's evidence of extensive genetic research. Whatever Vexthor was planning, it goes beyond this war." In the mountain range, Gia's squad faced fierce resistance as they approached the master control hub. The facility's defenses proved more formidable than expected, forcing them to adapt quickly. "We need to breach that outer perimeter," Gia shouted over the sound of weapons fire. "Bring up the phase shifters and prepare the explosives." As the battle raged across multiple fronts, Adam coordinated the complex operation from the front lines. He knew that failure in any part of the mission could spell doom for both human and Prilorian civilizations. The fate of two species hung in the balance as Lyra's team fought their way towards the battleship's reactor. Kraz uncovered more of Vexthor's secrets, and Gia's squad inched closer to the heart of the enemy's command structure. The war had entered its most critical phase, and the next few hours would determine the future of an entire world. "Galaxy," Adam's comlink crackled to life, interrupting his thoughts. "Commander, we've got multiple hostile contacts approaching from the north. reported Lieutenant Chun, her voice tense but controlled. Acknowledged, Adam replied, raising his particle rifle. All units, prepare for engagement. The air hummed with energy as Adam's forces readied themselves. Moments later, the enemy emerged from the ruins of a collapsed building. Adam's eyes widened as he took in the sight of the Prylorian soldiers. Their bodies were grotesquely augmented. Cybernetic implants melded seamlessly with organic tissue. By the stars, muttered Sergeant Reeves beside him. What has Vexthor done to them? Adam didn't have time to respond as the enhanced Prylorians opened fire. Energy bolts sizzled through the air, forcing the human-Prylorian alliance into cover. Adam rolled behind a fallen pillar, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to return fire with precision. Push forward, he ordered, gesturing to a group of Prylorian allies. We need to break through their line. As the battle intensified on the surface, Kraz and his team delved deeper into the network of underground facilities. They moved swiftly through dimly lit corridors, disabling security systems and neutralizing resistance with practiced efficiency. Commander, Kraz reported over the comlink, we've secured another installation, but you're not going to believe what we found. The team had stumbled upon a hidden laboratory filled with strange, hybrid weaponry. Kraz approached one of the workstations, his eyes scanning the schematics displayed on the screen. These designs, he murmured, they're a fusion of human and Prylorian tech. Vexthor was developing weapons that could harness the strengths of both species. Secure everything you can, Adam's voice crackled through the comm. We can't risk those prototypes falling into the wrong hands. As Kraz's team worked to contain the dangerous technology, Gia's squad faced their own challenges within the Master Control Hub. The close quarters of the facility made for intense, brutal combat. Watch your corners, Gia shouted as they cleared another room. The distinctive whine of Prylorian energy weapons filled the air, mixed with the sharp reports of human firearms. Private Torres, a skilled hacker, worked feverishly at a terminal while the rest of the team provided cover. I bypassed the first layer of security, he called out. But there's something else. Some kind of adaptive defense system. Gia gritted her teeth. Keep working on it. We need to reach that central control room. As they pushed deeper into the facility, they encountered a series of automated turrets. The weapons tracked their movements with eerie precision, forcing the team to adapt quickly. Use the phase shifters, Gia ordered. The devices, reverse-engineered from Prylorian technology, allowed them to briefly pass through solid matter. It was just enough to throw off the turret's targeting systems and gain ground. Meanwhile, in the cold vacuum of space, Lyra's team fought their way through the massive bulk of the Vrock's vengeance. The ship's corridors were a maze of danger, with both crew and automated systems presenting constant threats. Lyra's empathic abilities proved invaluable as they navigated the battleship. 2 guards around the next corner, she whispered to Sergeant Jax. They're nervous, off balance. We can use that. As they approached the main engineering section, they encountered a heavily fortified position. A group of loyalist Prylorian officers had barricaded themselves in, determined to protect the ship's vital systems. We don't have time for a prolonged engagement, Zirna said, her eyes on the prototype harmonic disruptor. That reactor won't disable itself. Lyra nodded, formulating a plan. Jax, I need a diversion. Zirna, can you bypass the defenses if we give you an opening? As Lyra's team prepared their assault on the engineering section, Adam received an urgent transmission from Unity Base. Commander, General Steele's voice was grim. Long-range sensors have detected a Prylorian fleet entering the system. Intel suggests they're loyal to General Vrock. Adam's mind raced, calculating the new threat. Understood, General. We need to accelerate our timetable. He quickly relayed orders to his ground forces, redirecting a portion of their strength towards nearby anti-orbital weapon emplacements. These massive cannons, previously under Vexthor's control, could potentially engage the incoming fleet. As Adam's troops fought to secure the emplacements, they encountered the most heavily augmented Prylorian soldiers yet. These elite warriors move with inhuman speed and precision, their bodies more machine than organic. Concentrate fire on their weak points. Adam shouted, identifying vulnerabilities in the cyborg soldier's armor. The battle for the anti-orbital weapons became a crucial pivot point, with both sides fully aware of its strategic importance. Amidst the chaos, Zelnah's Prylorian resistance made their presence known. Coordinated strikes against enemy command posts sowed confusion in the opposing ranks, providing valuable openings for Adam's forces to exploit. Adam. Zelnah's voice came through the comm. My operatives have disabled their primary communication relay. Their command structure is in disarray. Adam nodded, seizing the opportunity. All units, push forward. We need to secure those weapon emplacements before that fleet arrives. As the battle raged across multiple fronts, on the ground beneath the surface, and in the cold expanse of space, the fate of both human and Prylorian civilizations hung in the balance. The next few hours would determine not just the outcome of this war, but the future of interstellar relations for generations to come. Adam raised his weapon, leading his troops into another fierce engagement. The air crackled with energy discharges and the acrid smell of ozone. He knew that every second counted, every decision crucial. The incoming Prylorian fleet loomed like a shadow over their hard-fought gains, threatening to tip the scales once more. The distant rumble of orbital fire echoed across the battlefield, a stark reminder of the escalating conflict above. Adam's comm link crackled with urgent reports from his squad leaders. The anti-orbital weapon emplacements were within reach, but heavily defended by Vexthor's most elite augmented soldiers. Gritting his teeth, Adam made a quick decision. All units, converge on the weapon stations, he ordered, his voice firm and resolute. We take those cannons, or we lose this war. Leading from the front, Adam charged toward the nearest emplacement. The air sizzled with energy discharges as human and Prylorian alike pushed forward, their combined tactics overwhelming the cyborg defenders. Adam's enhanced reflexes allowed him to weave through the chaos, his particle rifle finding weak points in the augmented soldier's armor. A nearby explosion sent debris raining down, but he pressed on, signaling his troops to flank the main defensive line. Commander, Lieutenant Chen's voice cut through the din. We've breached their outer perimeter. Seizing the opportunity, Adam led a final push toward the central control station. The remaining cyborg soldiers fought with inhuman tenacity, their bodies more machine than flesh. But the Alliance troops matched their ferocity, driven by the knowledge that failure meant annihilation. In a blur of close-quarters combat, Adam found himself face-to-face with the station's commander, a towering Prylorian whose body bristled with experimental augmentations. The two locked in a deadly dance, Adam's speed and skill pitted against raw, mechanized power. With a well-timed feint, Adam created an opening. His particle rifle hummed to life, firing a concentrated burst that pierced the commander's defenses. As the augmented Prylorian fell, the last pockets of resistance crumbled. Control station secured, Adam reported, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Bring those cannons online now. The massive weapons roared to life, their barrels adjusting to target the approaching Prylorian fleet. Adam coordinated with Unity Base, feeding them targeting data as the cannons prepared to fire. All batteries, commence firing, he ordered. The sky lit up as volleys of high-energy projectiles streaked into orbit. The front lines of General Vrock's fleet, caught off guard by the sudden barrage, erupted into explosions. Ships veered wildly, trying to evade the deadly fire from below. Direct hits confirmed, reported Unity Base. The fleet's advance has been halted. Adam allowed himself a moment of grim satisfaction. The defensive action had bought them precious time, preventing the fleet from providing immediate support to the Vrok's vengeance. His comm link crackled again, this time with Kraz's voice. "Commander, we've secured the last underground facility. You won't believe what we've found here." "Give me a quick rundown, Kraz," Adam replied, his eyes still on the orbital battle above. "It's a goldmine of data on Vexthor's experiments. Genetic manipulation, hybrid weapons, it's all here. We're setting charges to destroy the complex now." Adam nodded, even though Kraz couldn't see him. "Good work. Make sure nothing survives that could fall into enemy hands." As Kraz's team prepared to detonate the charges, Adam received another update, this time from Gia's squad at the Master Control Hub. "We've breached the central control room," Gia reported, the sound of weapons fire in the background. "Heavy resistance, but we're pushing through. Once we secure the mainframe, we can disrupt their entire command network." "Understood," Adam replied. "Keep the pressure on. We need that hub under our control." As reports flooded in from his various teams, Adam's attention was drawn back to the sky. The Vrok's vengeance loomed ominously, its massive form still intact despite the chaos around it. Suddenly, alarms blared from multiple command stations. Adam's blood ran cold as he processed the incoming data. "Commander," a technician called out, her voice tight with fear. "The Vrok's vengeance is powering up its main weapons array. They're targeting our positions." Adam's mind raced, calculating options. The battleship's planet-killing cannons could obliterate large sections of their forces in a single strike. He had to act fast. "All available air support, launch immediately," he ordered. "Target the Vrok's vengeance. We need to knock out those weapon systems before they can fire." As squadrons of human and Prylorian fighters scrambled from bases across the planet, Adam received an urgent transmission from Unity Base. "Commander Dixon," General Steele's voice came through, tense but controlled. "Our engineers have completed final adjustments to the prototype harmonic disruptor. Its power output and range have been significantly enhanced." Adam's heart raced at the implications. "What's the catch, General?" "Using it at this increased power level could affect all Prylorian technology within its radius. We can't guarantee it won't impact our allies as well." The weight of the decision pressed down on Adam. The enhanced harmonic disruptor could potentially neutralize both the Vrok's vengeance and the incoming fleet, but at what cost? As he weighed his options, another alarm sounded. The battleship's weapons were reaching critical charge levels. Time was running out. Adam closed his eyes for a brief moment, then opened them with steely purpose. He knew what had to be done. "General Steele," he said, his voice steady, "prepare the harmonic disruptor for deployment. I'll give the order when ready." As the battle raged on multiple fronts, in space, on the ground, and deep within enemy territory, Adam prepared to make a decision that would shape the fate of two civilizations. The next few moments would determine the course of the war, and perhaps the future of human-Prylorian relations for generations to come. With a deep breath, Adam opened the comm channel to Unity Base. "General Steele, this is Commander Dixon. Authorize full deployment of the enhanced harmonic disruptor. Repeat, full deployment authorized." There was a moment of tense silence before Steele's voice crackled through. "Understood, Commander. May God have mercy on us all." Adam watched as a brilliant streak of light shot up from Unity Base, climbing rapidly into the atmosphere. The harmonic disruptor's energy signature expanded as it ascended, growing more intense with each passing second. "All units, brace for impact." Adam shouted into his comm, "Unknown effects incoming." The sky erupted in a blinding flash, followed by a wave of energy that swept across the battlefield like an invisible tsunami. Adam felt the hairs on his arms stand on end as the wave passed through him. For a moment, An eerie silence fell over the battlefield. Then chaos erupted. The massive form of the Vrok's vengeance flickered in the sky, its shields failing in a cascade of sparks. The ship's weapon ports, which had been glowing with building energy, suddenly went dark. Adam watched in awe as the behemoth began to list to one side, its engine sputtering and dying. Across the battlefield, Vexthor's forces stumbled and faltered. Their advanced weapons sizzled and sparked, becoming useless hunks of metal in their hands. The augmented soldiers, once terrifying in their enhanced capabilities, now staggered about in confusion as their bioimplants malfunctioned. But the effects weren't limited to the enemy. Adam heard cries of distress from his own Prylorian allies. Kraw's voice came through the comm, distorted and broken. "Commander, our tech, it's all dead. We're coming up blind here." Similar reports flooded in from all fronts. Gia's team lost control of the master hub as its systems crashed. In orbit, Lyra's squad found themselves in a suddenly treacherous environment as the Vrok's vengeance lost power to its life support and gravity systems. Adam's mind raced, quickly assessing the new battlefield dynamics. "All human units, take point," he ordered. "Secure key positions and gather disabled Prylorian tech. Move fast. We don't know how long this advantage will last." Leading by example, Adam charged towards the nearest enemy command post. The once formidable defenses lay silent, their Prylorian operators struggling with malfunctioning equipment. With practiced efficiency, Adam and his team secured the post, disarming and detaining the confused enemy soldiers. As they worked, Adam's comm crackled to life with Zelnah's voice. "Adam, my people are adapting. We're shifting to old-school tactics. I've got intel on enemy movements if you need it." "Good work, Zelnah. Keep it coming," Adam replied, grateful for the Prylorian resistance's resilience. In orbit, the situation was evolving rapidly. Human fighters swarmed around the disabled Prylorian ships, targeting key systems to prevent any chance of recovery. Several enemy vessels, realizing their predicament, began broadcasting surrender signals. Adam allowed himself a moment of cautious optimism before Unity Base's urgent transmission wiped it away. "Commander, we're detecting a concentration of enemy forces converging on a hidden bunker. Intel suggests it might be a backup command center. If they get it operational, they could reactivate their disabled tech." Adam's expression resolute. "Understood. I'm assembling a strike team now." He quickly patched through to his scattered forces. "Kraz, Gia, regroup on my position. We're making a final push." As he began formulating a plan of attack, another transmission came through. Lyra's voice was tense, the sound of alarms blaring in the background. "Adam, we've got a situation up here. The reactor core is destabilizing without its regulatory systems. If we don't fix this soon, this ship's going to become a very big problem for everyone on the planet." Adam closed his eyes for a brief moment, feeling the weight of multiple crises bearing down on him. When he opened them again, they were filled with steely grit. "Lyra, do what you can to stabilize that core. I'm sending what support I can spare your way." He switched channels. "Unity Base, prep another harmonic disruptor. We might need it for this bunker assault." As Adam gathered his forces for the final push, he gazed up at the looming form of the Vrok's vengeance, now a ticking time bomb in orbit. Below him, the battlefield was a chaos of regrouping allies and scattered enemies. And somewhere ahead, a hidden bunker held the potential to undo everything they'd accomplished. The next few hours would determine the fate of two civilizations. Adam checked his weapon, nodded to his assembled team, and pointed towards the horizon where their final objective waited. "Let's finish this," he said, his voice steady and determined. Without another word, they moved out, racing against time and the desperate remnants of a once unstoppable enemy force. "Let's finish this," Adam said, his voice steady and determined. Without another word, they moved out, racing against time and the desperate remnants of a once unstoppable enemy. As they advanced towards their final objective, Adam's mind raced, formulating a plan. He tapped his comm link. Kraz, Gia on me. We're assembling a strike team for the bunker assault. Within minutes, a group of elite human soldiers joined them, their faces set with stubborn persistence. Adam briefed them quickly, outlining their approach to the hidden enemy stronghold. Remember, we're dealing with desperate foes, he cautioned. Expect the unexpected. As they set out, Adam dispatched another team to the orbiting Vrok's Vengeance. Dr. Tucker, gather your best engineers. Lyra needs support up there, or we might have a bigger problem on our hands. The strike team moved swiftly across the war-torn landscape, encountering pockets of resistance along the way. Vextor's remaining forces, their advanced technology rendered useless, resorted to primitive weapons and guerrilla tactics. In a bombed-out building, Adam's team found themselves pinned down by enemy fire. Concrete dust filled the air as makeshift projectiles thudded against their cover. Kraz, left flank, Adam shouted over the din. Gia, provide covering fire. Kraz nodded, his Prylorian physiology allowing him to move with inhuman speed. He darted between debris, closing in on the enemy position. Gia suppressing fire kept the attackers' heads down, allowing Kraz to reach their blind spot. The skirmish ended quickly, with Kraz's hand-to-hand expertise proving devastating against the ill-prepared defenders. As they pushed forward, Adam's comlink crackled to life. Commander, this is Unity Base. We've modified the second harmonic disruptor. It's primed for a more focused effect. Copy that, Adam replied. Stand by for deployment coordinates. Meanwhile, aboard the Vrok's Vengeance, Lyra and Dr. Tucker's team worked feverishly to prevent a catastrophic meltdown. The ship's vast interior, usually bustling with activity, was eerily silent save for the blaring alarms and the frantic work of the human engineers. We need to stabilize the core's temperature, Dr. Tucker shouted over the noise. If it overheats, we're looking at a blast that could devastate half the continent. Lyra nodded, her face etched with concern. Our cooling systems are offline. Any ideas? Tucker's eyes lit up. We could repurpose the ship's water recycling system. It won't be pretty, but it might buy us some time. As they implemented their makeshift solution, Sergeant Jax approached them. What else can we do? Tucker hesitated, then pointed to a sealed door. The main control rods are in there, but the radiation levels are off the charts. If we could manually adjust them. Jax's expression hardened. I'll do it. Back on the ground, Adam's team encountered increasingly fierce resistance as they neared the bunker. Hidden defensive positions, powered by independent energy sources, opened fire on them from multiple angles. Take cover, Adam yelled as energy bolts sizzled past. He dove behind a fallen pillar, the acrid smell of scorched earth filling his nostrils. Gia slid in beside him, her breath coming in short gasps. They were ready for us, she growled. Adam nodded grimly. Zelna'a, he spoke into his comlink. We need a diversion. Can your resistance fighters draw some heat? Consider it done, came the reply. Moments later, explosions rocked nearby enemy positions. Adam seized the opportunity, signaling his team to advance. They pushed forward, engaging in a series of brutal firefights that left them battered but still standing. As they neared the bunker's entrance, Adam received an urgent transmission from the Vrok's Vengeance. Lyra's voice was tense. Adam, Sergeant Jax. He volunteered for a suicide mission. He's in the reactor chamber now. Adam's heart sank, but he forced himself to focus on the task at hand. Understood. Keep me updated. The bunker's outer defenses loomed before them, a final barrier between Adam's team and their objective. As they prepared to breach, the sky lit up with the telltale streak of the second harmonic disruptor. "Brace yourselves," Adam warned. The device detonated above the bunker, sending waves of disruptive energy cascading through the structure. Lights flickered, and the hum of power systems died away. "Now!" Adam shouted, leading the charge into the darkened facility. As they fought their way through the corridors, they encountered a new threat. Cybernetically enhanced commanders, their bodies a grotesque fusion of flesh and machine, emerged from the shadows. These augmented warriors moved with unnatural speed and strength, their enhancements partially shielded from the disruptor's effects. Adam's team found themselves in the fight of their lives, using every tactic and ounce of skill they possessed. Kraw's expertise proved invaluable, his knowledge of Prylorian combat techniques allowing them to exploit weaknesses in the enemy's augmentations. "The junction between organic and synthetic tissue," he shouted. "Target those points." The battle raged on, a desperate struggle in the heart of enemy territory. As they pushed deeper into the bunker, Adam caught glimpses of data screens and storage banks. The realization hit him. They were uncovering the full scope of Vextor's plans. With new hope, Adam led his team towards the central command room. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, and the answers they sought lay just ahead. As they approached the final chamber, the sounds of battle echoing through the bunker's corridors, Adam steeled himself for the confrontation to come. Whatever waited behind those doors, he knew, would determine the course of the war, and perhaps the future of human-Prylorian relations for generations to come. "Come." Adam took a deep breath, steadying his nerves for what lay ahead. "Team, this is it," he said, his voice low but clear. "On my mark." With a nod from Adam, the breaching charges detonated, and the reinforced doors of the chamber buckled inward. The blast sent shockwaves through the bunker, dust and debris filling the air. As the smoke began to clear, Adam led the charge into the chamber, his weapon at the ready. "Go, go, go!" he shouted, diving for cover as energy bolts sizzled past his head. The room erupted into chaos. Vextor's elite guards, their cybernetic enhancements gleaming in the flickering light, unleashed a barrage of fire. Adam's team scattered, taking positions behind overturned consoles and support pillars. Kraz moved with fluid grace, his Prylorian physiology allowing him to dodge incoming fire with ease. He closed in on a guard, calling out, "Adam, target the neural interface at the base of their skulls." Adam nodded, adjusting his aim. He squeezed off a burst of shots, catching one of the guards in the vulnerable spot Kraz had identified. The cyborg stumbled, its movements becoming erratic before collapsing. Gia, meanwhile, had made her way to a central computer terminal. Her fingers flew over the alien interface, bypassing security protocols with practiced ease. "I'm in," she called out. "Initiating data extraction now." The close quarters combat intensified. Adam found himself locked in hand-to-hand with a guard whose cybernetic arm had transformed into a whirring blade. He ducked under a vicious swipe, feeling the air displacement above his head. Using the guard's momentum against him, Adam executed a swift-leg sweep, sending the cyborg crashing to the ground. Before Adam could press his advantage, his comlink crackled to life. "Commander, this is Unity Base. We've detected multiple Prylorian ships powering up in orbit. They're coming back online." Adam grunted as he delivered a knockout blow to the fallen guard. "Copy that. Can our fighters intercept?" "Affirmative. We're launching squadrons now, but we're spread thin." The situation was spiraling out of control. Adam glanced at Gia, still working feverishly at the terminal. "How much longer?" "2 minutes," she shouted back, not taking her eyes off the screen. Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the bunker. Warning lights flashed on nearby panels, and a computerized voice began a countdown in an alien language. Kraw's eyes widened. Self-destruct sequence. We need to move. Adam's mind raced, weighing their options. They couldn't leave without the data, but staying put wasn't an option either. He was about to give the order to fall back when his comm link chirped again. Adam, it's Elna. We've intercepted a transmission. Vexthor's loyalists are making a break for it. They're heading to a hidden launch site to rendezvous with the fleet. The pieces fell into place in Adam's mind. If those fanatics escaped, they could regroup and continue the war on a galactic scale. They had to be stopped. Gia, grab what you can and let's move, Adam ordered. Kraz, you're in charge of getting that data out safely. I'm going after those loyalists. Kraz nodded grimly. Understood, Commander. As they fought their way out of the crumbling bunker, Adam assembled a small team of volunteers for the pursuit. They emerged into chaos. In the distance, massive Prylorian war machines were powering up, their massive forms casting long shadows in the fading light. Adam's comm link buzzed again. This time, it was Lyra from the Vrock's Vengeance. Adam, we've stabilized the core, but there's a new problem. The ship's AI is malfunctioning. It's targeting everything on the surface, friend and foe alike. Adam pursed his lips, the weight of multiple crises bearing down on him. Do what you can to shut it down. We'll handle things on the ground. As his team raced toward the coordinates of the hidden launch site, Adam caught glimpses of the battle unfolding around them. Human fighters engaged Prylorian ships in the skies above, while on the ground, Alliance forces scrambled to contain the threat of the reactivated war machines. They crested a hill, and there in the valley below, Adam saw their objective. A sleek Prylorian shuttle stood on a makeshift launch pad, surrounded by frantic activity as Vexthor's followers made their final preparations. Adam raised his hand, signaling his team to halt. He surveyed the scene, noting defensive positions and potential weak points. Time was running out, and the fate of two civilizations hung in the balance. "All right, team," Adam said, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. "This is where we make our stand. We stop them here, or we lose everything we've fought for." With a final check of their weapons, Adam and his team began their descent into the valley, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in their mission to prevent Vexthor's escape and bring an end to the conflict once and for all. Adam's team moved swiftly down the hillside, using the uneven terrain for cover as they approached the launch site. The sleek Prylorian shuttle gleamed in the fading light, its engines humming with pre-flight energy. "Gia, take left flank. Kraz right," Adam whispered, gesturing to his teammates. "We need to disable that ship before it takes off." As they neared the perimeter, a klaxon blared from the makeshift hangar. Vexthor's followers scattered, some rushing to defensive positions while others hurried to complete launch preparations. Adam raised his hand, signaling his team to halt. He surveyed the scene, noting the positions of armed guards and potential weak points in the hangar's structure. Time was of the essence. "On my mark," he said, voice low but firm. 3, 2, 1. Go! The team burst into action, sprinting towards the hangar entrance. Energy bolts sizzled past them as Vexthor's followers opened fire. Adam dubbed behind a stack of supply crates, the acrid smell of scorched metal filling his nostrils. "Suppressing fire!" he shouted, leaning out to unleash a barrage from his weapon. Gia and Kraz coordinated their movements, creating a crossfire that pinned down several of the enemy combatants. The air crackled with energy discharges and the sharp report of conventional firearms. As the firefight intensified, Adam's comm link buzzed. "Commander, this is Unity Base. We've launched our assault on the Prylorian war machines. EMP devices are being deployed now." Adam acknowledged the transmission, his mind racing to process the evolving situation. He caught a glimpse of the shuttle's engines flaring brighter, signaling an imminent launch. "We need to move faster," he growled, signaling his team to advance. They pushed forward, engaging in close-quarters combat as they entered the hangar. Adam found himself face-to-face with a cybernetically enhanced Prilorian guard. The guard's augmented arm transformed into a whirring blade, slicing through the air inches from Adam's face. Remembering Kraw's earlier advice, Adam targeted the junction between organic and synthetic tissue. A well-placed shot caused the guard's arm to spasm, giving Adam the opening he needed to incapacitate his opponent. As they fought their way deeper into the hangar, Adam caught sight of a Prilorian officer barking orders and coordinating the evacuation. The officer's uniform and the deference shown by the other followers marked him as a high-ranking member of Vex Thor's inner circle. "That's their leader," Adam shouted to his team. "We need to capture him alive." The Prilorian officer, hearing Adam shout, turned and locked eyes with the human commander. A flicker of recognition passed between them, followed by a sneer of contempt from the Prilorian. "Zarvek," Adam muttered, recalling intelligence briefings on Vex Thor's top lieutenants. Zarvek barked an order in his native tongue, and a group of guards moved to intercept Adam's team. The hangar erupted into chaos as both sides engaged in furious combat. Amid the firefight, Adam noticed one of Vex Thor's followers sprint towards the shuttle's control panel. The fanatic's fingers flew over the interface, and the ship's engines roared to life. "Gia, Kraz, target those support beams," Adam shouted, pointing to the hangar's structural columns. "We need to block that exit." His team responded instantly, redirecting their fire. The combined firepower began to take its toll on the hangar's integrity. Dust and debris rained down as the ceiling started to buckle. Adam seized a moment of confusion to charge toward Zarvek. The Prilorian officer, seeing Adam's approach, drew a sleek energy weapon from his holster. Adam dove to the side as a bolt of searing energy passed overhead, feeling the heat on his skin. Rolling to his feet, Adam closed the distance. He and Zarvek clashed in a flurry of strikes and counterstrikes. The Prilorian cybernetic enhancements gave him incredible speed and strength, but Adam's combat experience allowed him to anticipate and counter his opponent's moves. As they grappled, Adam noticed a small data core attached to Zarvek's belt. He realized this must contain the critical information about the hidden fleet, information that could turn the tide of the entire conflict. The shuttle's engines reached a fever pitch, the vessel straining against its moorings. Adam knew he had only moments to subdue Zarvek and secure the data core before the ship launched. With a grunt of effort, Adam allowed Zarvek to land a glancing blow. Using the momentum, he grasped the Prilorian's arm and pivoted, throwing both of them towards the shuttle's open hatch. They tumbled onto the entry ramp, still locked in combat. Adam managed to wrap his fingers around the data core, tearing it free from Zarvek's belt. The Prilorian roared in anger, redoubling his efforts to overpower the human commander. As they struggled, the shuttle's engines reached their peak output. The entire hangar shook, and the partially collapsed ceiling groaned ominously. Adam knew he had to act fast, not only to subdue Zarvek, but also to prevent the ship from launching and potentially alerting the hidden fleet. With the data core secured, Adam made a split-second decision. He released his hold on Zarvek and kicked out, sending the Prilorian officer tumbling back down the entry ramp. In the same motion, Adam lunged for the shuttle's interior control panel. His fingers flew over the alien interface, drawing on his knowledge of Prilorian technology. Warning klaxons blared as Adam initiated an emergency shutdown sequence. Outside, Zarvek scrambled to his feet, his face contorted with rage. He charged up the ramp, determined to stop Adam and reclaim the data core. Adam braced himself for the coming impact, the fate of two civilizations hanging in the balance as the shuttle's engines began to sputter and die. The shuttle lurched violently, its nose dipping as the engine sputtered and cut out. Adam's stomach dropped as the vessel plummeted back to the hangar floor. The impact sent both men sprawling. Adam's head cracked against a bulkhead, stars exploding in his vision. He tasted blood, felt the sting of a split lip. Gritting his teeth, he pushed through the pain and disorientation. Zarvek lay a few feet away, stunned but already stirring. Adam knew he had only seconds to act. He scrambled to his feet, ignoring the protest of bruised muscles, and lunged for the data core that had skittered across the floor during their fall. His fingers closed around the device just as Zarvek's cybernetic arm shot out, grasping at empty air where the core had been moments before. Adam rolled away, clutching his prize to his chest. The Prylorian officer snarled, his face contorted with rage and desperation. He reached for a sleek energy pistol holstered at his hip. Adam's combat instincts took over. He surged forward, driving his shoulder into Zarvek's midsection before the weapon could clear its holster. They grappled in the cramped confines of the downed shuttle, a furious tangle of limbs and cybernetic enhancements. Adam felt the inhuman strength in Zarvek's augmented limbs, but he countered with the hard-won skill of countless battles. A swift elbow to Zarvek's temple, a knee driven into vulnerable flesh where cybernetics met organic tissue. Each precise strike weakened the Prylorian's defenses. Finally, with a series of lightning-fast blows, Adam subdued his opponent. Zarvek lay prone, chest heaving. Adam wasted no time. He grabbed a pair of energy cuffs from a nearby storage compartment and secured the Prylorian's wrist behind his back. The cuffs hummed to life, their pale blue glow a stark contrast to the shuttle's dimmed emergency lighting. "It's over, Zarvek," Adam said, his breath coming in ragged gasps. "Your fleet, your cause, it ends here." The Prylorian officer glared up at him, defiance burning in his alien eyes. "You understand nothing, human. This is but a single battle in a war that spans galaxies and eons." Adam ignored the taunt, focusing instead on the sounds of battle still raging outside the downed shuttle. He activated his comlink. "This is Commander Adam. I've secured the high-value target and retrieved the data core. Status report." Gia's voice crackled through, punctuated by the whine of energy weapons. "We've got them bottlenecked. Sir, that partial ceiling collapse is working in our favor. But we could use some backup to mop up the remaining resistance." "Copy that. I'm on my way." Adam turned his attention back to Zarvek, hauling the Prylorian to his feet. "You're coming with me, and you'd better hope your followers have the sense to stand down when they see you in custody." They emerged from the shuttle into a scene of controlled chaos. The hangar was filled with acrid smoke and the ozone tang of discharged energy weapons. Adam's team had taken up defensive positions behind fallen debris, methodically picking off any of Vexthor's loyalists who attempted to break through their cordon. Adam shoved Zarvek forward, using the Prylorian officer as a shield. "Cease fire," he shouted, his voice carrying over the din of battle. "Your leader is captured. Lay down your weapons or share his fate." For a tense moment, the firefight continued unabated. Then, gradually, the resistance began to crumble. Weapons clattered to the ground as Vexthor's followers realized the futility of their position. As his team moved to secure the surrendering enemies, Adam's comlink buzzed again. This time, it was a transmission from orbit. "Commander, this is Unity Base. We've achieved orbital superiority. The remaining Prylorian ships have either surrendered or been neutralized." Adam allowed himself a moment of relief, but it was short-lived. Another voice cut in, Dr. Tucker, her tone urgent. "Adam, we've got a situation on the Vrock's Vengeance. We've partially contained the AI, but it's diverting power to the main cannon. If we can't stop it, the damage to the planet's surface could be catastrophic." Adam's mind raced, processing the new information. He glanced at the data core in his hand, then at Zarvek. A plan began to form. "Dr. Tucker, hold your position. I'm heading your way." He switched channels. "Unity Base, this is Commander Adam. I'm transmitting critical data on the hidden Prylorian fleet. We need to send a false all-clear signal immediately to prevent automatic activation. He turned to Kraz, who had just finished restraining the last of the surrendering loyalists. I need a fast transport to the Vrock's Vengeance. We got a rogue AI to deal with. As Kraz nodded and moved to secure a vehicle, Adam's comlink crackled once more. General Steele's voice came through, tense but controlled. Commander, we're receiving reports of enemy forces regrouping across the planet. Nothing we can't handle, but it could complicate our efforts to fully secure the area. Adam tightened fists, feeling the weight of multiple crises bearing down on him. Understood. Sir, permission to lead a team to the Vrock's Vengeance to neutralize the AI threat? Granted, Steele replied. But be aware, Commander. The situation is critical. That ship's main cannon could wipe out everything we've fought for. You have to stop it, whatever the cost. Acknowledged, Adam said, his voice grim. He turned to his team, noting the purpose in their eyes. They had come this far together, faced impossible odds, and emerged victorious. Now, one final challenge stood between them and the end of this long, brutal conflict. All right, people, Adam called out, his voice carrying across the hangar. We've got a ship to save and a planet to protect. Let's move. As they raced towards the waiting transport, Adam's mind was already several steps ahead, formulating strategies and contingencies. The data core felt heavy in his hand, a reminder of how much was at stake. Whatever awaited them aboard the Vrock's Vengeance, Adam knew one thing for certain. Failure was not an option. An option. With new hope, Adam and his team boarded the waiting transport, ready to face the new threat looming above them. The shuttle's engines roared to life, propelling them skyward. As they ascended through the planet's atmosphere, Adam briefed his team on the dual objectives of their mission. First priority is neutralizing that AI before it can fire the main cannon, he explained, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Secondly, we need to use this data core to send a false all-clear signal to the hidden fleet. It's the only way to prevent an automatic invasion. Kraz nodded, his reptilian features set in a grim expression. The Vrock's Vengeance has multiple layers of security. We'll need to split up to cover more ground. Agreed, Adam said. He turned to Gia, who was already poring over schematics of the Prilorian battleship. Gia, you're with me. We'll head for the AI core. Kraz, take the rest of the team and secure the main cannon's control room. As they approached the debris field of disabled Prilorian ships, Adam contacted Unity Base. This is Commander Adam, requesting clearance to transmit false all-clear signal to the hidden fleet. After a brief pause, General Steele's voice crackled through the comm. Clearance granted, Commander. Proceed with caution. Adam inserted the data core into the shuttle's communication array. His fingers flew over the alien interface, inputting the complex series of codes that would temporarily halt the fleet's invasion protocol. As the signal transmitted, Adam felt a momentary sense of relief, knowing they had bought themselves some time. The respite was short-lived. As they neared the Vrock's Vengeance, the massive battleship came into view. Its weapon systems fired erratically, sending bursts of energy towards the planet's surface. Evasive maneuvers, Adam shouted as the ship's point defense turrets swiveled towards them. Captain Sarah Tucker, their pilot, didn't need to be told twice. She sent the shuttle into a series of gut-wrenching barrel rolls and sharp turns, narrowly avoiding the incoming fire. I've identified a vulnerable docking port, Kraz called out, gesturing to a display. It's on the underside of the ship. The AI might have overlooked it. Captain Tucker nodded, her face a mask of concentration. I see it. Hang on, everyone. This is going to be tight. The shuttle dived beneath the Vrock's Vengeance, weaving through a maze of protruding structures and defense turrets. With expert precision, Tucker aligned their vessel with the docking port. There was a dull thud as the airlocks engaged, followed by a hiss of equalizing pressure. We're in, Tucker announced. Good luck in there. Adam led the charge into the Prylorian battleship, his team fanning out behind him. The corridors were eerily quiet, emergency lights casting long shadows across the alien architecture. Remember, Adam said, his voice low, we're on a clock. That AI could fire the main cannon at any moment. Move fast, stay alert. They reached a junction, and the team split as planned. Kraz led his group towards the main cannon's control room, while Adam and Gia headed for the AI core. As they moved deeper into the ship, they encountered the first signs of resistance. A trio of security drones rounded a corner, their optical sensors locking onto the intruders. Adam reacted instantly, dropping to one knee and firing a burst from his rifle. The energy rounds found their mark, shorting out the lead drone circuits. Beside him, Gia hurled an EMP grenade. It detonated in a flash of blue light, disabling the remaining drones. Nice throw, Adam said as they stepped over the inert machines. Gia grinned, already scanning their surroundings for more threats. I've been practicing. They pressed on, navigating through sections of the ship damaged in earlier battles. In one area, they were forced to squeeze through a partially collapsed bulkhead, the metal groaning ominously around them. As they neared the AI core, the resistance intensified. Waves of security drones converged on their position, forcing Adam and Gia to take cover behind a row of computer terminals. We need to push through, Adam shouted over the whine of energy weapons. He blind-fired around the edge of a terminal, forcing the drones to scatter. Gia nodded, reaching for another EMP grenade. Cover me. Adam laid down, suppressing fire as Gia darted from cover. She rolled, came up in a crouch, and hurled the grenade into the midst of the drones. The resulting electromagnetic pulse left a clear path to the AI core's entrance. They burst into the core room, weapons at the ready. The central processing unit dominated the space, a towering monolith of alien technology surrounded by a shimmering energy shield. That's going to be a problem, Adam muttered, eyeing the shield. Gia was already at a nearby console, her fingers flying over the interface. I'm working on bypassing the security protocols. It's going to take time. Time we don't have, Adam replied, taking up a defensive position near the entrance. I'll hold them off. You focus on shutting this thing down. As if on cue, the sound of approaching drones echoed from the corridor outside. Adam gritted his teeth, raised his weapon, and prepared for the onslaught. Meanwhile, in another part of the ship, Kraz and his team faced their own challenges. They had nearly reached the main cannon's control room when the AI activated additional security measures. Watch out! Kraz yelled as a series of energy barriers sprang to life, cutting off their advance. One of his team members, a human named Rodriguez, cursed under his breath. Now what? Kraz's eyes narrowed as he studied the barriers. There, he said, pointing to a maintenance hatch near the floor. We can use the emergency access ways to bypass these defenses. As they crawled to the cramped maintenance shafts, Kraz's comlink crackled to life. It was Adam, his voice strained. Kraz, status report. We're close to the control room, Kraz replied. But the AI's not making it easy. How are things on your end? Complicated, Adam said. Gia's working on shutting down the AI, but we're running out of time. That cannon is still charging. Kraz looked at his team, saw the perseverance in their eyes. Understood. We'll do what we can from our end. As they emerged from the maintenance shaft into the control room, they were immediately met with a hail of weapons fire from automated turrets. Take cover, Kraz shouted, diving behind a control station. His team scattered, returning fire as they sought shelter. Slowly, methodically, they began to push forward. Kraz used his knowledge of Prylorian technology to identify weak points in the room's defenses, calling out targets to his team. Finally, after what felt like hours, but was likely only minutes, Kraz reached the primary control console. His hands moved swiftly over the alien interface, attempting to sever the AI's connection to the weapon systems. Suddenly, warning klaxons blared throughout the ship. The AI-synthesized voice echoed through the corridors. Warning, critical systems compromised. Initiating emergency protocols. Kraz felt a chill run down his spine as he realized what was happening. The AI, in a last-ditch effort to complete its mission, was diverting power from life support and other essential systems to charge the main cannon. Adam, Kraz called into his comm link, his voice urgent. We're running out of time. The AI is going all in on firing that cannon. Whatever you're planning, do it fast. In the AI core room, Adam received Kraz's message with grim understanding. He turned to Gia, who was still working feverishly at the console. Gia, we need a new plan. How quickly can you rig an EMP to take out this core? Gia's eyes widened as she grasped the implications. An EMP? Adam, that could fry every system on this ship, including life support. I know, Adam said, his voice heavy. But if we don't stop that cannon from firing, there won't be much left to save on the planet below. Can you do it? Gia nodded, her expression resolute. I'll need a few minutes to calibrate the device. But Adam, once I start the countdown, we'll have to move fast. The blast radius will encompass this entire section of the ship. As Gia began working on the EMP device, Adam's comlink crackled again. This time, it was Kraz, his voice tight with urgency. Adam, we've got another problem. The AI just activated the decontamination protocol in the control room. The place is filling with toxic gas. We've got emergency breathers, but they won't last long. Adam clenched his fist, feeling the weight of command bearing down on him. He knew that the next few minutes would determine not just their fate, but the fate of the entire planet below. Hold your position, Kraz, Adam ordered. We're about to pull the plug on this whole operation. Be ready to move on my signal. As Gia continued to work on the EMP device, and Kraz's team fought against time and toxic gas, Adam stood at the threshold of the AI core room, knew that their time was rapidly running out. With one hand on his weapon and the other on his comlink, Adam prepared to give the order that would decide the outcome of their desperate mission. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, and the next few moments would determine whether their sacrifices had been in vain or if they had managed to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Defeat. The tension in the air was palpable as Adam prepared to give the order that would determine their fate. Suddenly, his comm link crackled with an urgent message from Unity Base. General Steele's voice came through, filled with concern. Commander, we have a situation. The false all-clear signal to the Hidden Fleet has been flagged as an anomaly. Their systems are initiating a verification protocol. Adam's heart sank as he processed the implications. The timeline for potential invasion had just accelerated dramatically. He turned to Gia, who was putting the finishing touches on the EMP device. Gia, we need to move now. How close are you? She looked up, her eyes reflecting the gravity of the situation. Ready when you are, Commander. Adam nodded, his mind racing through their options. He made a split-second decision. Proceed with the EMP activation. I'm going to try something else. As Gia began the countdown, Adam spoke into his comlink. Kraz, be ready to move on my signal. Things are about to get chaotic. He turned to Gia. Once you activate the EMP, I need you to guide me to the ship's long-range communication array. We're going to try and buy ourselves some more time. Gia's eyes widened in understanding, but she didn't hesitate. Ready in 3, 2, 1. The EMP device pulsed, sending a wave of energy through the AI core. The lights flickered, and for a moment, the constant hum of the ship's systems fell silent. In the cannon control room, Kraz and his team felt the effects immediately as the toxic gas dispersal slowed. Adam didn't waste a second. "Let's move!" They sprinted out of the AI core room, Gia leading the way through the momentarily darkened corridors. Behind them, they could hear the system starting to reboot, the AI's redundant protocols kicking in. "The communication array is 2 levels up," Gia said as they ran. "We'll need to use the emergency access ways to get there quickly." As they climbed, Adam could hear Kraz's voice over the comlink, strained but determined. "We're disconnecting the AI from the weapon systems manually. It's not easy with this gas, but we're making progress." They emerged onto the level housing the communication array. The ship systems were coming back online, lights flickering to life around them. Adam rushed to the main console, his fingers flying over the alien interface as he input the codes from the captured data core. "Gia, I need you to boost the signal strength. We need to make this transmission as convincing as possible." As Gia worked on amplifying the signal, Adam initiated the transmission. He watched the progress bar crawl across the screen, every second feeling like an eternity. Suddenly, the ship lurched. Gia stumbled, catching herself on a nearby console. "Adam, the AI is regaining control. It's redirecting power to the propulsion systems." Adam's comlink crackled again, this time with General Steele's voice. "Commander, we're detecting movement from the Vrok's Vengeance. What's your status?" "The AI is mobile, but we've disabled its weapons," Adam replied, his eyes never leaving the transmission progress. "General, be advised. We may have a new problem on our hands." As if on cue, Gia's voice cut through the tension. "Adam, I've analyzed the ship's trajectory. It's on a collision course with Unity Base." Adam's mind raced, formulating a plan even as he watched the transmission complete. "Gia, access the navigational systems. We need to alter the ship's course subtly. Aim for a low, unstable orbit." As Gia worked, Adam contacted Kraz. "Kraz, status report." The reply came back, punctuated by coughing. "We've disconnected the AI from the main cannon, but we're trapped in the control room. The air, it's getting thin." "Hold on," Adam said, already moving. "I'm coming to get you." He turned to Gia. "Can you handle the course correction?" She nodded, her face set with grit. "Go. I've got this." Adam sprinted through the corridors, using his knowledge of Prylorian ship design to locate the emergency override controls. He forced open the sealed doors to the cannon control room, a rush of toxic gas billowing out. Kraz and his team staggered into the corridor, barely conscious. Adam supported Kraz, guiding the team towards cleaner air. "Stay with me," he urged. "We're not done yet." As they moved towards the shuttle bay, they encountered sporadic resistance from the ship's remaining security systems. Adam and the more alert team members fought their way through, using a combination of human and Prylorian combat techniques. They finally reached the shuttle bay, where Captain Sarah Tucker was already preparing for launch. As they boarded, Adam received another transmission from Unity Base. "Commander," General Steele's voice came through, "the Hidden Fleet has acknowledged a false all-clear signal, but they're requesting visual confirmation. We're running out of time." Adam looked out the shuttle's viewport as they detached from the Vrok's Vengeance. The massive battleship was entering the planet's atmosphere, its hull glowing red-hot from the friction. As they raced back towards Unity Base, Adam knew that the most critical phase of their mission was yet to come. The Vrok's Vengeance was neutralized but still a threat. The Hidden Fleet's deadline was approaching, and the fate of 2 civilizations hung in the balance. The shuttle streaked through the atmosphere, leaving trails of superheated air in its wake. Adam turned to his team, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. "All right, people. We've won the battle, but the war isn't over. Let's finish this." this. Adam's voice was filled with willpower as the shuttle approached Unity Base. Suddenly, the comm link crackled to life. Commander, this is General Steele. We need you to divert course immediately. Head to Secure Facility Alpha. Urgent briefing required. Captain Tucker adjusted their trajectory without hesitation. Roger that. Changing course now. As they banked towards a new destination, Adam noticed the sky ablaze with fiery streaks. Debris from the Vrok's vengeance was already entering the atmosphere, creating a spectacle both beautiful and terrifying. The shuttle touched down at Secure Facility Alpha, and Adam's team was quickly ushered into a bustling command center. General Steele and Commander ZYX were waiting, their faces grim. "We have a plan," Steele said without preamble, "but it's going to require your expertise." Over the next few minutes, they outlined a bold strategy. Adam listened intently, his mind already racing with the implications. "A holographic Vextor?" Kraz asked, his voice skeptical. Commander ZYX nodded. "It's our best chance to buy time with the Hidden Fleet. We need to send them visual confirmation before they launch an invasion." Adam turned to Gia. "Can we pull this off?" She bit her lip, considering. "With the data from the captured core and our first-hand knowledge. Maybe, but we'll need to work fast." "Then let's get to it," Adam said, moving towards the holographic projector. For the next hour, they worked feverishly. Adam and Kraz focused on replicating Vextor's mannerisms, while Gia and a team of technicians fine-tuned the holographic technology. The air was thick with tension as they raced against time. Outside, the situation was deteriorating. Through the command center's windows, Adam could see more debris entering the atmosphere. Alarms blared as reports came in of impacts across the planet. "Anti-orbital weapons are engaging the largest chunks," an officer reported. "Energy shield teams are deploying to protect key areas." Adam forced himself to focus on the task at hand. The hologram was taking shape, a ghostly image of Vextor flickering into existence. "We're ready," Gia announced, her voice tight with exhaustion. Adam stepped up to the communication array. "I'll handle the transmission. Gia, monitor the fleet's response. Kraz, stand by with emergency countermeasures." He took a deep breath and initiated the transmission. The holographic Vextor sprang to life, its pre-recorded message filled with carefully crafted phrases and codes. Seconds stretched into minutes as they waited for a response. Adam could hear his own heartbeat pounding in his ears. Finally, Gia's voice broke the silence. "They've acknowledged the transmission. The invasion protocol. It's standing down." A cheer went up in the command center, but Adam knew their respite would be brief. General Steele confirmed his suspicions moments later. "Good work, people, but we're not out of the woods yet. The Hidden Fleet is still a threat, and we need to dash." An alarm cut him off mid-sentence. Gia's fingers flew across her console. "We've got a problem. A massive piece of debris has made it through our defenses. It's on a collision course with New Horizon City." Adam's mind raced. What about the anti-orbital weapons? "The fragment's too large," Gia replied. "They can't neutralize it effectively." "And the energy shields?" "Out of range," Kraz said, his voice grim. Adam studied the tactical display, an idea forming. What if we used our space-capable fighters? We could intercept the debris, try to alter its course. General Steele frowned. "That's a high-risk operation, Commander. We'd be asking pilots to fly into a debris field." "It might be our only option," Adam argued. Before Steele could respond, Commander ZYX interrupted. "We have another problem. Reports of unrest are coming in from multiple Prilorian districts. The debris impacts are causing panic." Adam could see the weight of command bearing down on General Steele. The man's eyes were tired, but his voice remained steady. "All right, Commander. Prepare your fighter squadron for intercept. Commander ZYX, coordinate with local authorities to maintain order. We need to handle this delicately. As Adam moved to carry out his orders, he caught sight of the tactical display once more. The massive debris fragment loomed large, its fiery trajectory spelling potential disaster for New Horizon City. In the background, he could hear reports of growing unrest among the Prylorian population. He knew that the next few hours would be critical. The immediate threat of invasion had been averted, but new challenges were rising to take its place. As he headed towards the hangar, Adam steeled himself for the fight ahead. The battle for the planet's future was nowhere near the end. Adam's mind raced as he sprinted towards the hangar, his footsteps echoing through the corridors of Unity Base. The immediate threat of invasion had been averted, but a new crisis loomed. He burst into the hangar, where a group of human and Prylorian pilots were already assembled, their faces a mix of dedication and apprehension. "Listen up," Adam called out, his voice cutting through the din of preparations. "We have a critical mission. A massive debris fragment from the Orcs' vengeance is on a collision course with New Horizon City. Our job is to intercept and divert it." He quickly outlined his plan, explaining how they would use their ship's tractor beams in tandem to create a net-like effect. The pilots listened intently, nodding as they grasped the gravity of the situation. "This is a high-risk operation," Adam continued, his eyes scanning the group. "We'll be flying into a debris field, but the stakes couldn't be higher. Are you with me?" A chorus of affirmations rang out. Adam nodded, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. "Then let's move out." They scrambled to their ships, a mix of sleek human fighters and more angular Prylorian vessels. Adam climbed into his own craft, the familiar hum of the engines vibrating through his body as he powered up the systems. "All units report in," he commanded over the comm channel. One by one, the pilots confirmed their readiness. With a final green light from flight control, Adam led the squadron out of the hangar and into the sky. As they ascended to the atmosphere, the true scale of the debris field became apparent. Fragments of the Orcs' vengeance littered the upper atmosphere, glowing red-hot as they burned up on entry. But ahead of them loomed their target, a massive chunk of the ship's hull, large enough to devastate New Horizon City if it struck. "All right, team," Adam's voice crackled over the comm. "Form up on me. We need to approach this carefully." The squadron fell into formation, human and Prylorian ships flying side by side. As they neared the debris, Adam could feel the tension mounting. Warning alarms began to blare in his cockpit, alerting him to the dangerous levels of radiation and heat emanating from the fragment. "Engage tractor beams on my mark," he ordered, his hands steady on the controls. 3, 2, 1. Mark. Beams of energy shot out from each ship, latching onto the massive piece of debris. Immediately, Adam felt his craft strain against the immense pull of the fragment. "Full power to tractor beams," he grunted, fighting to keep his ship stable. "We need to alter its trajectory. Gradually, push it towards the ocean." The pilots worked in unison, their ships forming a tight net around the debris. Slowly, agonizingly, the fragment began to shift its course. But the strain on their vessels was immense. "Commander," one of the Prylorian pilots called out, his voice tight with strain, "our ships weren't designed for this kind of stress. We can't hold it much longer." Adam gritted his teeth, his own ship's warning system screaming at him. "Just a little longer," he urged. "We're almost there." Through the sweat stinging his eyes, Adam could see the curvature of the planet below. They were pushing the debris towards an uninhabited stretch of ocean, far from any population centers. "Final push," he called out. "Everything you've got." The squadron gave one last, heroic effort. With a collective groan of overtaxed machinery, they managed to give the fragment the final nudge it needed. Adam watched with anxious anticipation as the massive chunk of debris broke free from their tractor beams and continued on its new trajectory. "All units break off," Adam ordered. "Get clear of the debris field." The squadron scattered, their ship streaking away from the falling fragment. Adam's heart pounded as he watched the massive piece of the rock's vengeance plummet towards the ocean. It hit the water with a colossal impact, sending a towering plume of water and steam into the sky. The shockwave buffeted their ships, but they held steady. As the water settled and the realization of their success sank in, cheers erupted over the calm channel. Human and Prylorian voices mingled in celebration of their shared victory. Adam allowed himself a small smile as he guided his ship back towards Unity Base. They had averted disaster, but he knew their work was just the beginning. As they descended through the atmosphere, he could see the glow of fires in some of the Prylorian districts, a reminder of the unrest they still needed to address. His comm crackled to life with a message from Unity Base. "Commander Dixon, excellent work out there," General Steele's voice came through. "But we need you back here ASAP. We've got a situation developing with the Hidden Fleet, and we need your expertise." "Understood, General," Adam replied, his mind already shifting to the next challenge. "I'm on my way." As he guided his ship towards the landing bay, Adam knew that the battle for the planet's future was still ongoing. But for now, he allowed himself to savor this small victory, a testament to what humans and Prylorians could achieve when they worked together.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.